What's going on, guys? We're coming to you live. This is going to be a interesting game here. We got a Star Wars Legion tabletop simulator game. This is being played in the fourth season of the Legion ladder, but this is actually a kind of special event because this map here is not the normal. This is not the normal map. This is not a normal map from the mod. This is actually a preview of one of the maps that is going to be in the next season of the Invader League. And so this is going to be, I believe this is Edu, and this is the map from Rogue One. This is the planet with the Imperial Research Facility where they're building the Death Star. And as we can see here, we have the landing platform and research station over here. Presumably the station is off the map in this area. We have kind of the cliffs and trench area with one of these turrets, and we have a crashed X-Wing from the Rebel attack on that research station. So should be an interesting map here, kind of a Rogue One theme today. And this map is not final, but Nerfly is one of the mappers for this game. He's working on this map for the Invader League Season 6 round robin, and this is not final. This is a preview, but this may be something that you'll see in the future. So this map has some interesting features. Relative to some of the Legion maps, this one has more verticality. So this is actually a height 2 platform up here. So if you have stuff up here, it can't really be reached by normal means. There's not a ladder. There's not really any other way for normal stuff to get up onto the platform, which is going to create some interesting decisions. You might have, it's like the airspeeder or Mandalorians or, things with jump 2 or speeder 2 could go from the ground level up there. Other stuff might not be able to, but it's gonna create an interesting dynamic where additionally you can have things both under and on top of this platform potentially. And I think in a lot of games this platform area might not necessarily be used, but in others it could be important. Now it does look like it is just barely, the edge is just barely in range here, so in theory we could see a unit up on this platform using that to contest this objective and intercept the transmissions, though it's going to be interesting to see whether or not that occurs. Then on the rest of the map, we have a mix of, we have some cliffs, some rock formations, there's a few barricades, there's the crashed X-Wing there, so fair amount of other stuff as well. You could just think of this as being a ground level map with just this area as just being decorative, but it's also possible that that's going to be seeing some more play. Let's see here. Timbo says you're echoing. Let me see if this will correct that. Okay. Let me know if it's still echoing, and I can maybe make some changes there. I think I'm not seeing anything on my end that should be causing that, but let me know if it's still happening, and I can mess around with this some more. Right now, the players are still deploying. These are going to be some interesting armies here too. The on the one side, let's see here. Okay, so he says it's still happening. Let's cut this part for now. Let's see here. All right, how are we now? I just changed the audio pickup settings there. Okay. In the meantime, while I'm waiting to hear back on that, we're gonna take a quick look at the army stuff here. So on the one side, we have a lot of droids, and so there's a General Grievous, 5 units of B1s, 1 unit of B2s, and then we do have 3 droidicas. Okay, and Timbo says much better, excellent. So whatever I did there does seem to have worked. And should be interesting to see what's going on here. So we have 3 units of droidicas, 5 units of B1s. 2 of them have the E5C B1 trooper, which I'm highlighting here, just the 3 black dice. 2 of them have the E5S B1 trooper with red, white, critical 1, and a bit of extra range. 1 unit of B1s only has an HQ uplink and no heavy weapon. Maybe a unit that's just going to do objectives. 3 units of droidicas with no upgrades, and there is a big squad of B2 super battle droids. So not only does this have the basic squad, we also have the B2 ACM Trooper to add those 3 red dice, and we have a generic B2 Super Battle Droid showing up a little low res there for some reason. And so that's going to be the full 5-man squad of B2s, and we see them deploying here. We also have the big man, General Grievous, equipped with aggressive tactics to give out those surge tokens to his guys, equipped with strict orders to clear suppression more easily, endurance to remove suppression from himself more easily, and the DT-57 Annihilator pistol to give him a potent ranged attack in addition to his trophy lightsabers. Grievous is going to be a major threat. And so we have Grievous and a horde of battle droids here featuring both B1s, B2, and B2s, as well as those 3 units of Droidicas, which might be kind of a flanking detachment or similar. They can be very annoying to kill under the right circumstances. On the other side of the board, we have Eternal RMG, a player with substantial experience in previous seasons of the ladder. And so Eternal here is from Germany, and today he is fielding a interesting list. So he's going to have the what do we got here? We have Anakin. Actually, Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, is going to be leading the force here, as well as Captain Rex. So Anakin and Rex working together, along with 2 squads of Phase 1 clone troopers, 2 squads of Phase 2 clone troopers, and 3 arc snipers. So the Phase 2s have been equipped with the classic Z6 rotary blaster trooper here, and the offensive push upgrade to give them tactical 1 and allow that nice alpha strike with take that clankers. The Phase 1 clone troopers have been equipped with the mighty DC-15. This weapon got a points drop recently in the balance updates for this game, and it hadn't been seen that frequently previously, but it's actually pretty strong. It's similar to the classic Imperial DLT, but instead of having Impact 1, it has Critical 1, which white frankly I think is maybe going to be a little stronger. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on here with the clones. They have, in the past, there have been a lot of clone armies that have had these units with no upgrades that are just there to feed tokens to other units, especially with the infamous standby sharing era. The standby sharing era has now concluded thanks to some errata to the game, but we are still in a position where those unupgraded clone units can be useful to feed dodges and aims to your other squads. However, in this case, all the clone units being fielded here have at least some potency to them. We're not going to see a situation where there's going to be these large numbers of unupgraded units, and we do not see the infamous R2-D2 and or C-3PO here. It's just going to be the clones, and their leader, Anakin Skywalker, bravely hiding behind this X-Wing. Anakin's an interesting piece, not one that we've seen as much because he was only previewed relatively recently. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, has kind of what I consider the standard Jedi profile here of 6 wounds and 3 courage, and it's going to be interesting to see what exactly he has to offer here. He has jump. He has a special defense. So unlike Obi-Wan, he cannot defend for units near him, but he additionally has, if he spends a dodge token, not only does he gain the normal surge to block that Jedi get from deflector block, but in his case, if he cancels at least 1 block or crit result with the dodge token, the attacker suffers a wound. So it's basically you don't have the possibility to get some crazy multi-deflect scenario, but you have 1 guaranteed deflect if you are spending that dodge token. So that creates a pretty interesting dynamic here, and it's going to be cool to see how this one plays out. He also has flawed. He adds a flaw card to the opponent's hand. He has immune to pierce, as most Jedi do, and he can actually equip dark side force powers, though in this case he has not chosen to do it. He's equipped with force push and saber throw, but I do think some players are excited about Anakin for the prospect of taking force choke on a character for the Republic. He's also been equipped with endurance to help remove suppression, and he's been equipped with seize the initiative to give himself an order in a key moment. Now, this does discard when you play it, but it could be crucial in the right circumstance, especially if Rex is giving out the orders on one of these turns instead. Interestingly, Rex has not been equipped with aggressive tactics. He has improvised orders instead, which is going to help the order pool be a little more reliable, and he's been equipped with the grappling hooks for Expert Climber. A somewhat unorthodox choice, I feel, relative to taking the jetpacks or, even if you... I personally think Rex's jetpack is great, but the grappling hooks are certainly cheaper. I think they're actually only 1 point after errata, or after errata and points changes, so maybe a cheaper way to get access to some of those upper levels if necessary. I personally do like that jetpack on Rex, though. I am fond of it for only 5 points. And while it does not increase his speed like some of the other characters do, so like when I say increases speed, what I mean is like Sabine, Wren, or Boba Fett, they have speed 3 in addition to jump 2. So Rex's jetpack does not give him speed 3, but it does give him jump 2, which could be handy, especially on this map. In theory, he could use that to get on top of this platform and really deny some cover to his opponents, like looking down from above. If there are enemies hiding behind this barricade, for instance, I think it would be quite possible that you'd have an elevated spot that would let you pick at them without that. But not the upgrade that he chose to take for this one. Those grappling hooks might still be useful for this sort of area over here. Oh, and we are seeing a unit of Droidekas deployed up top. Very interesting. So these Droidekas are range 3. If they got over here, they could threaten these units over on this cliff. We could actually see the Droidekas, if the clones here decide to move on top of this cliff and move that way to contest this objective, we could see the Droidekas shooting at them with a barrage from above and potentially denying them cover. So this should pose an interesting question here for Eternal RMG. Now, the downside is if he decides to focus on these two objectives and ignore these Dekas, he could easily neutralize them by just not going in range. So it's going to be an interesting question as to whether or not these Dekas essentially deny this point. This should be pretty interesting. We're going to have to see what happens here. Grievous in the center with the big ball of droids, 2 units of Dekas on this side, and then the 1 unit of Dekas over here to potentially rain down some shots from above if the clones move across this way. Should be very interesting. I think we might see these clones just run back down that ramp and go for this side and play for these 2 objectives to try to neutralize that squad of Dekas. Kind of similar to how, in some cases, if the opponent is using the 1.4 FD laser cannon from Rebels, you can just kind of avoid the side of the map that features that. Okay. Yavin Base says, ooh, neat, Annie Rex. Yeah, it's there has been some... I think that Eternal's been playing around with Anakin. I know he had a few games in the ladder earlier that he credited to Anime, which was Anakin and Padme, presumably. But now Anakin and Rex, that should give you that alpha strike with the good old take that clankers. Though he does not choose to play it here, he's going to play Hero of the Clone Wars. So the way Anakin works is he has permanent cards that provide him with powerful buffs, but also there's certain downsides with them that will give you suppression under certain circumstances. So he plays the Hero of the Clone Wars card, permanent, Exemplar, and Reliable 2. At the end of his activation, if he's not at range 1 to 2 of a friendly unit, he gains a suppression token. So every turn, Anakin is going to get 2 surge tokens that he can share with his other units, but if he ends up on his own, then he will take a suppression at the end of his activation. Now, he has, of course, been equipped with the Endurance upgrade, which means that he can remove a suppression token at the end of the activation phase, and that could mitigate the downside of some of these abilities. But, we'll see what happens here. And I believe the card from Nerfly was the Humble Standing Orders. I'm going to ask them to show Anakin's flaw card. Oh, they did actually show it. Okay, so there it is. So Anakin's flaw card is right here. Not a story the Jedi would tell. So the opponent can play this card at the start of the command phase if there's an enemy Anakin Skywalker with at least 1 suppression. Playing this card doesn't count as your order, so you can do an order as well, and it means that the enemy Anakin cannot be issued orders that phase. So this is a kind of a critical card where if Anakin does end up with a suppression, you can use this to prevent him from having you can use this card to prevent him from having orders issued to him and kind of create an opportunity to potentially get him before he can activate. Interesting case there. Maybe this improvised orders could also be a counter to that, where if Anakin can't activate, you could potentially use the improvised orders to draw again and get an increased chance of getting his activation. Interesting stuff going on there. I'm not sure. I think Seize the Initiative does not work if his flaw is used because cannot trumps can, and they're both card effects. So that one doesn't counter it, but I believe the improvised orders could be considered a soft counter. Yavin Base says, Eternal thinks he has found a solution to managing the flaw with Anakin and Rex, but he didn't elaborate. Yeah, and maybe that improvised orders that he has equipped on Rex. I think there could be a situation where it's like the opponent plays the flaw, and then you respond by doing something that activates a high number of units, and then triggering your improvised orders to get an increased chance of just essentially top-decking Anakin. I'm not sure, though. We're going to have to see how it goes with this game. If he thinks it's Seize the Initiative, I think he may be mistaken. So Hero of the Clone Wars here, by the way, is Anakin in 2 units. So it looks like an order to Anakin, an order to Rex, and maybe an order to those guys. I didn't see what the third order actually was. Yeah, Timbo says, we're not programmed to give to 4 clones and not Rex. 2 out of 5 with improvised. Yeah, so that's actually pretty good. So you would have, yeah, so if you do, we're not programmed, and you give orders to, like, maybe you give orders to all your snipers and to one of the units of normal droids, and then you have, 5 things left, and 2 of them are commanders, and you have improvised, so you get to draw 2 of them. I think that gives you a pretty good chance of hitting it. Yeah, and, in theory, you could actually do more than that once the clone comms text come out. You could potentially take, like, HQ uplinks or something to mitigate it further. Endless, this map is a Invader League 6 map for the round robin phase, but this is a preview. The map is not confirmed to go live in this specific state. This is just where it's at presently, and Nerfly said that further testing is going to go on until the round robin phase. So, maybe if the event were tomorrow, this would be played, but if this were is because the event is not in fact being played tomorrow, I think there's a good chance that we're going to see, some updates to this. This might not be totally final, but this is kind of the sneak peek of Edu as a potential Yadu. I don't know how to pronounce that. Edu or Yadu, whatever. The planet from Rogue One with the testing facility, which may be featured in the next season of Invader League. Yavin Base says Edu. Okay. So we're seeing some, pretty tentative moves at first. Now, this is a 9 activation list versus a 10 activation list. The clones are out activated, which I guess is thematically fitting with this horde of droids. The most powerful individual model on the board is probably either Anakin or Grievous. I haven't seen Anakin in action that much, so I'm not sure how powerful he's actually going to be. But what I do know is that because he has these permanent command cards that can grant strong effects, he can get pretty powered up. But unlike other Jedi, if he engages early on without his command card effects, he's actually a fair bit weaker. You may notice, I'm going to highlight his command card here. He doesn't have Charge. He doesn't have Relentless. I believe one of his command cards grants Relentless, and it is permanent. But, you have to get to the point where that's actually been played before you have that upgrade. So this is different from, like, if you're fielding Luke or Obi-Wan or whoever and the opponent runs straight towards you, you could be really mixing it up immediately. Whereas with Anakin, you have to get some of his command cards out in order to do that. This may also be another reason why we don't see a Take That Clankers Alpha Strike here. I think in theory he could have used Take That Clankers. So he has one Phase 2 unit here and one Phase 2 unit over here. I think this one might have been able to move up and shoot at those Decas. I think this one probably could have moved up and shot at something over there. But it's kind of risky to do that, not just because, he might be kind of off on his own and might not have that good a shot, but also because in this situation, he really wants to play those Anakin command cards early on to kind of get Anakin powered up. Now, the downside of Anakin's command cards is that they also do have their own weaknesses. Like, so this one... at the end of his activation, if he's not at range 1 to 2 of a friendly unit, he gains a suppression token, and that's also permanent. So even though you're powering up Anakin as you play these cards, you're also kind of exposing him to potentially extra suppression. And while he does have the endurance to mitigate that, there are kind of some trade-offs. Now, at this stage, this is not much of a downside because he already is at range 1 to 2 of friendly units and is likely going to remain there for some time, but it can be potentially a weakness when he goes off on his own. Anakin's an interesting character, and I really think they got the theme going pretty well in my opinion, where Anakin is this guy. He can be really, really powerful if he has all his stuff going on, but he is also flawed. He has some weaknesses, and he is, that can potentially fail you at a critical moment. So it's kind of interesting. I think they did a good job capturing like the character concept of Anakin Skywalker with these rules, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does in this showdown with General Grievous. All right, meanwhile, while I was talking about that, we saw some rather boring movements here. No disrespect, Nerfly. I'm not saying that, I don't think this is bad necessarily, but there's a stand mound here for light cover, and he's going to be moving. He puts one unit of battle droids into it and another one behind it, though. Troopers only get cover if they are fully within the sand mound, so this unit is not in cover. We could potentially, I'm not sure if this is range 4 from there to there, but we could potentially see this unit engaged by Take That Clanker's next turn, I feel, if these troopers do go up the cliff. On the other hand, if these troopers go off the cliff to engage those droids, they're going to be in potentially a prime position to themselves be hit by the droidicas and maybe even be in the open against the droidicas. So it could be that Nerfly is putting that unit out there as a kind of bait, hoping that his opponent is going to take the bait, move up here, go for these long-range shots, and then get hammered by the droidicas that are up on the platform and able to rain fire down on that cliff. So interesting situation. Endless says, what's really exciting here? 2 DC-15 Phase 1s. Yeah, so I was mentioning this earlier. The DC-15 has really been buffed. It's I believe that what was the points change on that? Does anyone have that? I believe that the Phase 1 Clone Trooper heavy weapons were reduced in price to encourage people using Phase 1s. This... I don't know if it was to do this, but I think that it does do this. I think that it encourages people to use the Phase 1 Clone Trooper units as something other than just, I'm going to take a squad with no upgrades and use that in order to get my give my other units tokens. Codec87 says -3 points. Yeah, so 3-point deduction on the DC-15, which was already, I think, so it used to be 30, which was like, and it was strong, but it was pricey. At 27, that's looking more appealing. And Kodak says it's his favorite weapon. So it is going to give clones actually one of the things that they've traditionally lacked, which is a long-range heavy weapon on your basic units that has the ability to move up and take those pot shots. A lot of units in this game can do this. You see the Rebel DLT, you see the Imperial DLT, you see the T-21B on the Shore Trooper unit. Even the battle droids have the E5S that can take that critical pot shot at range 4. But the only long-range weapons for the clones have had cumbersome. There's been it's been, what's it called? There was the RPS launcher, which comes in the Phase 1 expansion pack. And that weapon is range 4, and it has impact 2, I believe, but it is cumbersome. So you have to already be in position. You can't move up and take a pot shot. And then there's the Phase 2s have the mortar, but the Phase 2 mortar is also cumbersome, so once again, you can't move up and take a pot shot. Whereas with the DC-15, you have the ability to do that on a core unit. Now, of course, the clones have some other things that can do that. If you're using Take That Clankers, your whole unit can move up and shoot at range 4, potentially. And the Arc Snipers, the infamous Arc Snipers, a very strong unit, do have that ability as well to take long-range pot shots, actually even at range 5, but it hasn't been something that all the clone units have had access to. So these Arcs over here, looks like it's going to be 2 moves for these ARC troopers. The ARC snipers deployed on this flank, I think, don't really relish the prospect of having a encounter with 2 units of droidicas that look to be poised to rush down this area. So they are going to pull back towards the main body. And interestingly, because he is pulling back towards the main body, I think this means that it's more likely that he's going to be engaged by the droidica unit that's up here. Okay. Codex says, good for taking on armor too, in reference to the DC-15. Yeah, that critical 1 can improve your odds of getting a critical through armor. And Timbo points out that fire supporting arcs with a DC-15 is real fun into armor. Yeah, so if you had an arc sniper with his critical 1 from the DC-15X, and you fire supported it with a normal squad, it would add not only a bunch of dice, but also put you up to critical 2, which further increases your chance of getting those crits in as long as you can roll some surges or just natural crits. Definitely something that can be threatening to a piece of armor. Although I will say, if you're in that situation where you're going to be fire supporting, so your unit is already in position and doesn't have to move, you might consider using that RPS rocket launcher to get the impact 2. That could really amp it up a bit. So it looks like the purple battle droids here are going to move, and they're actually going to recover. This is the squad with the HQ uplink, and they used it in order to get better order control for this turn. I think the tactic that is being used here, I think the tactic that's being used here by Nerfly is, I believe he is going to try to get an order on Grievous and an order on all his battle droids every turn, and then the one order that he has in his three orders that he has in his bags are going to be his 3 Droideka units. So the Droidekas aren't as limited by AI as some; they have AI attack or move. So it is kind of awkward in that you can't give them you can't have them aim and then shoot. But he can either move up and shoot, or he can attack and then move back, or attack and then dodge. There's really a lot of options. It's not as if they have AI just attack or AI just move, which might be more constraining for them. So, and it looks like we might see the first shot of the game. So this unit of Phase 1 clone troopers does have range 4 to those little blue guys, and a DC-15 trooper. I don't think he can see. Yeah, he's too angled. Okay, so he's moving him off to the side so that he can see around the edge of the cliff. Gonna take that pot shot. This is like slightly wrong, but it's obvious that there's some placement where he could do it. It'll be interesting to see here. Yeah, I think we might see a DC-15 pot shot with 2 red dice into that unit of blue battle droids. It looks like he's rethinking it maybe. He's now just out of range. Oh, I think the guy actually just fell down the hill a bit. He's having a little bit of problem. So these like cliffs here do have some like little tabletop simulator geometry and collision issues. Hey, what's up, Prairie Pirates? This map is called Edu. I believe it's EADU. And this is the map I was saying earlier. This is where the Imperial Research Facility is in Rogue One, where they're developing the Death Star, and the Rebels launch that mission to go after Galen Erso. So we see here, this is the landing pad and the research facility up here, like kind of lifted above the canyon, and we see one of the defense turrets here, as well as a crashed X-Wing. Okay. So I think the movement has been figured out, and I believe... okay, so he's going to put this guy up top for the pot shot. Yeah, so I think this map is very cool aesthetically. It's got some interesting gameplay, too, with this elevated level, and then the rest of the battle on the ground floor. So it's going to be cool to see how that works out. Still having a few placement issues. One of the clones fell off the cliff there. Hopefully for Eternal, that's not going to be a preview of what will happen when those Dekas start engaging them. And it does look like it's going to be time to take that pot shot. Yeah, pot shot at the blue guys. They are in light cover. Can the squad leader can see. They're in light cover. 2 red dice being rolled with critical 1, and it does get 2 hits. 1 will be saved by cover, but 1 will get through. I think... Oh, he has 2 aims on Rex because Rex did move twice. I think he's considering re-rolling to try to get the double crit. I don't know that I would do that. I think I might just keep... I don't know. Like, I might just keep it. I might just save those... Oh, no, he's re-rolling. First re-roll, just gets another double hit. I think... Okay, and now he keeps it. Okay, so he was trying to expose himself to the opportunity to get lucky there. Didn't get it. Decides to just stay there. And the droids, even though they do have a surge token, it doesn't avail them here, and one of the blue battle droids is picked off. So that is going to be the first casualty of the battle there, with the DC-15 picking off a droid at long range. Incidentally, if any of you have played the modern Star Wars Battlefront 2, that DC-15 is very interesting in that game. So the standard blaster is kind of more of a... I think it's on the assault class, but the DC-15 is on the heavy class, and it has a much better sustained fire, but it it might not be the most maneuverable. It's kind of interesting to see how the different weapons are represented in different Star Wars media. All right, well, at this phase, it's going to go back to the droids. I wonder if we're going to see... I think it's possible that one of these units with the droid sniper might... Like, this E5S could take a return fire shot. I believe they could move, get range 4 to that unit, and take a shot of their own, try to pick at them. And it's possible that if they position themselves right, they would only be able to see that DC-15 and the unit leader. So even though that DC-15 just sniped off a droid, he might find himself getting sniped by a droid sniper. On the other hand, I think this guy would likely be visible with the silhouettes up. Okay, so it looks like the other side is actually activating here. There is a droid sniper over there. Thinking about his movements, I think he's trying to get into position to potentially score this objective next turn with this unit of E5S droids. He does have to worry a little bit about what he's going to do with his Droidekas. He doesn't want to overrun them necessarily, but it looks like that was actually maybe just a pre-measure, and he may be activating a different unit at this time. Interesting state of affairs here. Classic clones versus droids, even if it is in a Rogue One setting here, map-wise. So this game is being played in Season 4 of the Legion Ladder, which is an event that I launched recently. I was originally thinking it was going to launch in January, but I did it a little early to support the Battle Lines map contest. So anyone who is interested in the ladder here, it is a event where you can. The ladder is an event where you're able to go and play as many games or as few games as you want. There's no like official scheduling, so you can just find opponents for games whenever you like, and it's going to track your rating based on how many games that you've played. You know, you win more points if you win against a better player. Your rating will change based on your victories and defeats in the ladder, and at the end of the season, we're going to have a tournament where it's going to be the top 16 players who have played at least 5 games and against at least 4 different opponents. All of those players are going to have the opportunity to compete in a top 16 single elimination bracket with some light prizes for the winners. The tournament from the previous season of the ladder is actually still ongoing, and I believe the finals for that tournament are going to be played tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stream them, but if I am not able to stream, I believe Endless will have it covered, and it should be a pretty interesting event. So in that case, I believe we have Luke Cook facing off with JJ's Juggernaut, and we're going to have a clones versus droids match again. So that said, if any of you want to get in on the ladder play, we do have that option available. I am going to find the link here and put it in the chat. So one of the benefits of the ladder format is that you can join in the middle of the season. You can join whenever you like. And, because of that, it's a lot easier to get your games in if you have a difficult schedule. There's no, commitment to play a game every week. And the time limit is a little more generous. Each season is, I believe, about 3 months. So meanwhile, it looks like these Dekas are going into ball mode and moving up very fast on this flank. Aggressive maneuvers from these Dekas. The units on this side, several of them have already activated, but I wonder if we're going to see any of these units trying to engage those Dekas while they are in ball mode and less able to defend themselves without their shields. And so I've just pasted the link to the ladder in the chat there. So if any of you want to join up for the ladder, there is your link to get involved. Prairie Pirates asks, what's the time for the finals? Let me check that. I believe we were just discussing that earlier on the main server here. Yeah, so the ladder finals is let's see here. Yeah, so it's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So that's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific time. And if I'm available, I am hoping to cast that, but I think there's a high chance that I'm actually going to be unavailable because I am going to be playing in a Flesh and Blood TCG tournament tomorrow. So in that case, Endless has kindly offered to take the cast. Oh, and we're seeing a classic tabletop simulator movement there with the movement templates flipping over those arcs. It looks like there's 1 unit of arcs and 1 unit of clones that might be able to engage those Dekas as they move in. These arcs are already in range. They could move up a bit, get an aim token, and get the second model in range at range 3 to get some extra dice. On the other hand, that would mean they were themselves in range for a potentially punishing volley from the Dekas on the next turn. So this should be an interesting situation with this aggressive flanking maneuver here that we see from Nerfly and his Dekas. Let's see whether or not Eternal's going to be able to do some major damage to him on this turn. I think it's an interesting situation. Dekas, for a while, Dekas were kind of eclipsed by staps. But the Dekas got a major points break, and They're now in a pretty good spot. Uh, Dame GG says we Fab getting into that action as an LGS owner. Yeah, man. So Flesh and Blood. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, Flesh and Blood TCG. It's a new game. They're trying to make. They call it the new classic TCG. They're trying to make a game where it's going to be a trading card game similar to Magic the Gathering or some other games you may have played in that area. But they're trying to have a new and fresh spin on it. And they actually got lucky in some ways. They released this game in New Zealand. And for those of you who don't know, New Zealand has had one of the best responses to the virus situation. They have an advantage geographically because they're a small island, but they've done a good job of containing the virus as well. So game stores and stuff are actually still open in New Zealand, and Flesh and Blood has just been booming, even though this virus has had some issues for the traditional game store environment. If any of you are interested in that, feel free to check out my VODs. I have some Flesh and Blood videos on there. Also, if you go to towernumber9.com, I actually have some strategy articles and tournament reports written for Flesh and Blood. Right now, though, we see that Arc Sniper engaging the Dekas hit and crit. It does have, I believe Dekas get cover 2 when they're in ball mode, so only one will get through right now. He may spend an aim for a reroll or spend it for a pierce here. Let's see what happens against those Dekas. Oh, he's going to go for the double crit, I believe. No, he decides not to. It looked like he was going to highlight that red die, but he decides not to. Spends the aim for lethal, and one wound is inflicted on the gray Dekas. So they do have cover 2 from moving fast and or from that rock formation. Not exactly sure. But then they are... one shot does get through thanks to the arcs having sharpshooter and critical 1, and then a aim is spent for lethal, and the arcs are actually then going to move back to try to avoid getting hit by those Dekas. So he could have been more aggressive and moved up to fire an extra die from his second arc trooper at range 3, but I think this is a more prudent move because those Dekas would then be in a prime position to blast his guys. Anakin, meanwhile, still hanging out behind that X-wing with his arc troopers there in tow. So there's still this unit of blue guys that have yet to go, and I believe there's one arc squad that also has not activated. This one activated early on. Yeah, these orange arcs have not activated, so I think they might be the only thing left. Although, actually, I think these blue troops maybe haven't either. No, he only has one thing left, so maybe they did activate and just moved around. Things are kind of cluttered over here. Here come the Dekas. I'm not totally sure the Dekas can... Oh, you know what? I guess technically it doesn't say whether or not this is even impassable or whatever. I'm not totally sure they can cross that thing, but he asked and his opponent said it was okay. So the Dekas are not yet in a firing position, but next turn they should be able to advance, get on the edge of this, and potentially be in a nasty spot for the future. Dekas rolling forward on the platform here. So it's interesting, if we take the kind of tall overhead view of this game, we see the main droid force kind of hanging back, but the Dekas are moving out, one group over here and one group over here, and kind of pincering the pincering the clones in the center there, with the main body of the droids in the middle, and then a Deca unit from each side cutting in on the flanks. Very interesting and kind of reminiscent of sort of some classic tactics of military history. Like we talk about the what's it called? The there's like the I think it's called the bull and horns tactic, where the main body engages in the front, but then there's other elements that swing around from the sides. Sometimes, in the most extreme case, you get the double envelopment where the flanks actually go all the way around and hit the main body in the back. This was used by Hannibal in the Battle of Cannae, or Cannae, or however you pronounce that. I'm not a military history expert, and that was a big defeat to Rome. So we'll see whether or not the flanking Decas are going to be able to inflict a big defeat on the clones this time. So it should be pretty interesting. Let's see how this game progresses. Looking from the top view here, we do see that the clones are actually, if anything, even more bunched up. I was thinking maybe they would fade in this direction to try to avoid the flanking threat of these Decas, but instead it looks like they did move up onto the cliff. The Decas aren't able to engage yet. They might be able to engage next turn, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to go far enough and still get line of sight. You know, we could see them maybe move to like here. I don't think they'll have line of sight. I think next turn they're going to have to keep moving up, get to the edge of the platform, and then be in a good position for future turns, but not quite there yet. Now, one note is also this platform is only light cover, so that might mean that the Decas are not necessarily as tough up there as you might think, but between the cover and their shields, they could still be in quite a good spot, especially since they would likely deny cover to the clones that are down there. It looks like one guy would have a little piece of rock overlapping his base, but these others would likely be caught in the open, so this pink squad could be in big trouble if those Decas do engage from the platform. Meanwhile, it looks like he is moving. Oh, you know, I think we might see it. It looks like he's moved up this unit so that he is going to be able to return fire with a sniper shot of his own, and I think he's going to be able to put his sniper back here so that he can only see the clone with the DC-15. So that clone picked off that clone has picked off a droid at long range, and we're going to see whether or not the E5S B1 is going to be able to pick off that clone in return, which will be a very good trade for the droids if it goes through, given that they will kill an expensive heavy weapon for the loss of a basic B1 battle droid. Now, Earlier, Timbo said the basic clone gun is like a carbine, DC-15 is an assault rifle, DC-15X is a rifle. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think in Star Wars Battlefront 2 at least, the basic clone gun was sort of a carbine or an SMG type weapon. The DC-15 was like a light machine gun or something, and the DC-15X, I don't even know if it was in the game. But here comes the shot. Does get a crit. Can this guy pass his save, or will the DC-15 be picked off? Oh! Picked off! So Eternal RMG losing his DC-15 trooper. Ironically, some people were excited about seeing this guy make his appearance in the game, but because there wasn't another model put up on this cliff in order to absorb a potential shot and prevent that line of sight sniping, the E5S droid sniper was able to pick off that valuable heavy weapon. So this clone squad, now without its heavy weapon, may be relegated to just going for objectives and or providing tokens to support other units. Eternal RMG says, I always do this. He's kind of laughing at himself there. A bit of a blunder. The other ARC squad is going to, I believe, move and then fire on that Deca that was already engaged. And he will have a lot of aim tokens available here, so maybe going for that double crit. Let's get the 2 hits. Yeah, immediately rerolls. Oh, gets a single crit. Another aim spent to reroll. Going for the double crit. Doesn't get it because it's only critical 1. Another aim. I don't know how many he has, but I think it's a lot. 4 aims. 5 aims and no double crit. No double crit. Wow, he spent so many aims on rerolling for that double crit that he doesn't have one for lethal. Let's see if that Deca makes it save. It does not. It would have been a painful experience, I think, for Eternal if he had spent all those aims on rerolls trying to get that double crit only for the Deca to make it save. He was really hoping to kill that one Deca model, but he only got 2 wounds on it, and now its shields are going to go up. I believe that's it for the clones. They've activated all their units, so now it is going to be over to the next turn, and those Decas are going to be in a good spot. Timbo says, Eternal tries to use not naked P1 and gets reduced anyways. Yeah, unfortunate there. A bit of a blunder, just kind of a placement mistake. If he had one of his normal phase 1s higher up on the cliff, he wouldn't have been able to get sniped off. But it was also unlucky. We had to see the crit come out on that shot. So, Nerfley only had 2 dice with which to roll a crit. He did have critical 1, but that's like you get 2 1-in-4s, so it's you got like a 50% or something like that. Or it does have a crit, and I don't remember exactly how the math on this works. So then there's a 2/3 chance to save because he does have a surge token available. So it's, if we say there's a 50% chance to get a crit and then there's a 2/3 save, it's a 1-in-6 to lose your guy. Unfortunately, he did see that 1-in-6, And that goes to show, one important principle in this game is even if something would be an unlucky outcome, often there's like a thing that you could do that would prevent it. So in this case, if one of those phase 1 clones was a little bit further up on the cliff, it wouldn't have been possible for that shot to happen like that. So even though it was a lucky shot, he could have avoided even the possibility of a lucky shot with some slightly better deployment and placement from his troopers. So interesting round there for this game, and we're going to see how things progress. General Grievous activating. The big guy, General Grievous. He's got a powerful attack both in melee and range. His trophy lightsaber is giving him a very strong melee attack. His pistol can be used either in melee or at range, and he does actually have, we might see a rare case of General Grievous actually using that Jedi Hunter keyword. While attacking a unit that has a force upgrade icon, you gain surge to crit. We might see General Grievous getting those surge to crits against Anakin. Timbo says around 44% chance to roll crit with 2 dice crit 1. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the math exactly on that, but I would believe that, absent having done the dice rolls myself. And so a little unlucky there, probably a bit less than a 1 in 6 to get that kill, but he did get it. So that is a crucial heavy weapon picked off for the clones, and that is going to limit their firepower coming back in future turns. On the other hand, he may now decide, hey, this unit isn't relevant for shooting. I'm just going to rush this objective here. They're just going to run over there, and maybe they can even hide under the platform so that if the Decas are on the platform, they won't be able to see the clones that are hiding like down here. And that could be irritating to deal with. We might see the B1 battle droids having to try to remove some clones that are hiding in good cover, which can be a tough job to do. So, yeah. And Timbo says that result with failed save, it was like 15%. Okay, so a bit worse than a 1 in 6. Yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Okay, in the meantime here, General Grievous moving up and hiding. Double move. And that is, I believe, the round. Going into round 2, so an uneven exchange here saw the Phase 1 clone trooper pick off a B1 battle droid, only to be picked off himself and lose the precious DC-15 thanks to an E5S shot. However, the clones did also manage to inflict 2 wounds on one of the droidicas that is rapidly flanking their position over here. Command cards coming out for next turn. We see Take That Clankers, the Alpha Strike, not used on the first turn, but this time on the second, matched by a Supreme Commander here. And we're going to see a roll-off to see who goes first, and it is a hit here. So that is going to be a opportunity for, or I'm sorry, it's a block, but that does mean that Eternal will be going first. So we might see an Alpha Strike from that Take That Clankers this turn. Supreme Commander giving a surge token to Grievous for each other friendly trooper unit at range 1, and it will allow him to potentially get that Guardian to have his minions here take some hits for him. Orders, meanwhile, for the clones, of course, being given to the 2 Phase 2 clone trooper units, because the Phase 2 clone troopers are exactly the guys that you want to give orders for this that Clankers shot. So this card is when a friendly trooper unit performs a ranged attack while having a face-up order token and an aim token. During the forum attack dice pool step, that unit can increase the maximum range of every weapon by 1 to a maximum of 4. Those 2 Phase 2 units have been equipped with offensive push. They're going to be able to move up, get an aim from tactical by using offensive push, and then fire at range 4, giving them a substantial threat range for the Alpha Strike this turn. All right, let's see what happens. It's a very interesting game. Grievous gets 4 surge tokens from nearby units. I think there were maybe 3 at range 1, maybe 4, or it was either 3 or 4 units at range, either 4 units at range 1 or 3 units, and then he gave himself 1 with aggressive tactics. It looks like the aggressive tactics surges, 1 is given to this unit, 1 is given to the B2s, 1 is given to this dark blue unit, and yeah, so then I guess 1 must be on Grievous then. So kind of his front line here, his vanguard, Grievous, the B2s, this dark B1 unit with the E5. This is the unit with the E5S that earlier got that nice snipe on the clones, and then this unit of E5, I believe this is an E5C B1 unit that lost a model earlier. It looks like the light blue clones are moving up, and they do have what looks like a light cover shot here into the B1s over there, just barely at range 4, thanks to Take That Clankers. But they are in range, so that's going to be 4 black dice and 6 white dice with an aim token at range 4. This is the power of the Take That Clankers alpha firing into light cover. Let's see what's going to happen here. This could be an opportunity. This could be an opportunity for the... Ooh, but he's also thinking about shooting those Decas, it looks like. Which one is he going to go for? The problem is the Decas now have their shields up because they rolled last turn, but this turn, you know, those shields are ready. So it's going to be a bit of a problem here. Yeah, they also, even though they would normally, they don't have the cover from rolling, but they do have cover from the cliff, I believe. It's possible they would be able to run around really far. Yeah, so he's now looking at running around, but it looks like it would the line would still cross and part of the base would be covered, so they would still have cover. And with those shields as well, I'm not sure shooting the Decas is going to be productive. It's going to be an interesting question of emphasis here. On the other hand, if he doesn't engage the Decas, I'm not sure he's going to be able to stop them. This is the big problem with Droidicas. Because they have those shields that you have to take down before you can do normal damage to them, it quickly becomes a situation where you either have to focus fire or you're not going to be limiting their incoming firepower, especially because the shields actually regenerate. So if he chooses not to engage the Decas, he might not really have much that's going to be able to engage them that effectively. On the other hand, we could actually see Anakin Skywalker go after the Decas. His melee is certainly quite powerful and would be able to get through their shields, but it's going to be interesting to see whether or not that ends up being the move that he goes for as well. Anakin has 5 red dice in melee with impact and pierce 3, so he couldn't kill the Decas in one turn, but he could very likely kill a single model at least, and potentially engage other ones in the future. Meanwhile, just some more measurements being taken. It looks like they might be actually going after Grievous at this phase, not entirely sure. Up there they will... it looks like they're not quite in range of that squad. Oh, and Nerfly offers to actually fix the collider there for the map, as he is the guy who created the map here. So he's going to do some little adjustments to make it easier to negotiate that cliff. That's the benefit of playing, I think, with the guy who made the maps. You can get some quick modifications, and let's see if it worked. Yeah. So now he is in the position he was going for. Okay, so he's actually floating a little above it, which is probably not optimal, but it might be better than having him fall. Oh, and now they're lowering it. Yeah, so they got it set up. Yeah, he's got it all set up. The collider is fixed, but it does look like he might be just out of range. Yeah, he's just out of range of those battle droids. Yeah, they're not in range. Yeah, he's that little bit out. So he could engage the Decas from up here. Still going to have cover, but it might be more productive. No, he's rethinking it and going the other way. Karma55 says, I've been liking the Droidicas. Nerfly's list is very similar to one I've been playing with. Yeah, I think Droidicas are definitely one of the units that got buffed a lot and are potentially kind of a star now. They have, so the thing about Droidicas is they don't have impact. They're not that threatening to vehicles, and they have difficulty with orders relative to Staps. Staps have a similar role of being like a fast, aggressive unit. Staps are much less resilient than Droidicas, but they do have critical, which allows them to threaten vehicles, and they do have coordinate to have their order control a little better. On the other hand, Droidicas can block enemy units because they're ground vehicles, while Staps cannot block. So Droidicas are a better defensive unit to have if, for instance, you're menaced by Tauntauns. Now we do see them engaging on the ground level. They have the shot, and it should be light cover only. 4 black and 6 white dice with an aim and potentially some surges. 3 hits initially, not great, but he does have the aim there for the reroll on those 2 black dice. One of them comes up, 4 hits. Not the best. It's going to be 3 saves getting through the cover here. Let's see what happens to those droids. And all saves do fail, so that was a little lucky there with the surge token. On average, they would have saved one of those. That is going to be 3 battle droids down, so there's only 3 battle droids left from that squad, with those 3 plus the one that was shot down by the poor doomed DC-15 trooper last turn. This squad is potentially going to get wiped out soon. Kodak87 says this map has too much going on. I think it's interesting. You know, it certainly gives the appearance of being like a complicated setup, but since like if you ignore the platform here and say that most of the battle is on the ground floor, it looks a lot more normal. And the platform adds some verticality and some options, but the players could also disregard it if they liked, I think. So it's kind of a mixed setting. You know, there's the option for the intense ground level engagement, which is, you know, kind of a more default like rocks and cliffs and barricades and rubble, versus the including the platform as well, with some jumping units or some units deployed up there in order to try to get a height advantage and threaten enemies that are down on that cliff. I think it's very interesting. You know, and I mentioned this earlier. This map is not final. This is a preview for the Invader League round robins. It is just a preview. It's not final. We might see some adjustments prior to this map actually going into the Invader League. And it looks like that unit that was taking some damage is now going to push forward aggressively. I'm a little surprised by this. I thought there was a chance he was going to try to conserve this unit instead. But no, they're going to rush the field, and they are now in position to contest that objective. In fact, they're claiming it. They're the only ones there right now. So currently, the Separatists do have a position to intercept that transmission. We're going to have to see what happens next. Oh, and we got a spammer here in the chat. Let's get rid of that guy. The Russian spam bot. I'm getting the ban here. One sec. All right, spammer is off the field. Sorry about that, guys. Spammers seem to have become a little more prevalent on Twitch for me recently. Not entirely sure why. And then we're going to see, it looks like a sniper there moving up. Arc sniper moving around. Doesn't seem to have a great line of sight, but he might be able to engage the Deca. I don't know. This doesn't look like a good shot to me. I don't think he can see very much over here. Maybe he's just moving to try to generate an aim that can be used by another unit, and he'll just take a pot shot at the Deca. I don't know. I don't even think he can see the Deca here, though. It's blocked by that X-Wing. Not entirely sure what the goal of this placement is. I don't think he can see Grievous because of the cliff. He can't really see the guys over there either. In the chat, yeah, in the chat, it sounds like he. I think I heard Eternal say, you know, still shields, that's worthless. Thinking about, you know, potentially shooting the Deca and then deciding that because he would have to chew through those 4 shields to potentially get some damage through, it may be more worthwhile to just move again, generate another aim with tactical to support the other units. And this is really one of the strengths of the Decas. You know, those, even though this unit is 1 wound away from losing a model, it's not actually that close to death because those 4 shields will have to be chewed through first. And now it's time for the Decas to attack. A Droideka now with its shields up, waddling forwards, moving at speed 1. But now should be in range of some clone troopers to start unleashing a barrage there, which will also benefit from suppressive. I believe the blue phase 2s that moved up and shot some droids are now going to get some return fire from Decas. They are in cover thanks to this crashed X-Wing, but I think they could still potentially take some damage from these Droidekas. Yavin Base says, Shields is an interesting mechanic in a faction that has virtually no save. Yeah, it's kind of cool. The you know, the Decas do have a slightly better save than some droid units. They do have the surge to block instead of no surge on defense, but it's still definitely a bit of a, you know, it's a weaker defense than like, you know, red saves or in some units even with red saves with surges. Deca's firing away, only getting 1 crit through, a bit below average roll there, but it will force a save on the clones, and 1 model is killed. So the Droideka unit there managing to pick off a phase 2 and put 2 suppression tokens on them, thanks to the suppressive on those Decas. And that suppression can really add up. You know, we could see that being pretty annoying for Anakin in particular, given that suppression does tend to be his weakness. These Decas might prove an annoying opponent, but if he can get in melee with this Deca squad, he might be able to wipe it in 1 hit, given the damage that's already been inflicted, since melee does go through shields. So that might be a good opportunity for Anakin to do some damage by engaging over here. We'll have to see what he ends up doing, but he could potentially charge those Decas next turn. All right, so we have looks like a sniper being pulled from the stack here. Yavin Base says clones just don't have good tools for suppression outside of Rex Inspire and Padme 1 pip. I think Isla Secura, the field commander upgrade pilot for the Saber tank, also grants. I forget if it's Inspire 1 or Inspire 2, but I think she also has Inspire. And Yavin Base says strict, of course, but aggressive tactics usually takes precedent. Yeah, it's awkward. You would like to have both strict and aggressive tactics, but Captain Rex only has one command slot, so you can really only do one or the other. On the other hand, traditional clone armies with a lot of phase 2s and arcs, almost the whole army is courage 2, which is a good hedge against suppression. But against these suppressive Droidekas, it's going to be, easier to suppress even a courage 2 unit than one might normally think. Yeah, so then Timbo in the chat points out, that the field commander upgrade there, Isla Secura, does actually grant Inspire 2. So that's pretty cool. It's funny, clones' main weakness used to be suppression. Once they started getting Courage 2 on all their stuff from the arcs and phase 2s, that got a lot better. But out of the core set, clones were notably weak to suppression. Karma55 says Anakin may run into suppression issues if he runs off towards the Droidekas. Also true, if he ends up outside of range 1 to 2 of friendly units, he will suppress himself with that Hero of the Clone Wars, and then he could potentially take even more suppression from the actual suppressive weapons engaging him. Could put him in trouble, though he does have endurance to try and mitigate that, so it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with Anakin Skywalker. Another relevant thing, though, is that if Anakin moves to engage the Droidekas on the flank, it might leave an opening for Grievous to just charge down the middle and engage these forces without someone that can threaten him in melee. So in this way, I think that Nerfly's flanking tactics might allow him to get into a favorable spot. Another arc unit maneuvering, but it doesn't look like they have good shots. Does get to range 3. Oh, he's going for the Deca, and this time he's deciding to engage directly. He goes to range 3 to get the other model shooting. He's decided, okay, I have to deal with these Decas one way or another, and it's time to start shooting. These attacks will likely be absorbed by the shields, but at least he can maybe try to get those shields down, or at least some of the shields down. They do have cover 2, which goes down to 1. Reroll fails. I would reroll it again using one of the aim tokens from those other arcs personally, but it looks like he just one gets in and it is blocked by the shields. So just a shield gets knocked down, and that does actually mean that this shield is just going to regenerate at the end of the turn unless more shooting goes into those Decas. So the combination of cover and shields allowing them to be quite resilient even against the infamous Arc Sniper, a very lethal unit. Sorry about that, guys. Dark blue. This is the unit that got that good pick off on the last turn against one of those clone trooper units, killing that DC-15. Nice little use of line of sight sniping, which is kind of a fundamental Legion tactic. In this case, they're already at range 4 to those guys and might actually be able to move and engage the arcs at range 4, take another sniper shot, but it's possible that instead they're going to try to move up. It looks like they're just barely out of range. They just barely are out of range to do 2 moves and reach that objective. And I think they might move into this crater position that the other unit was in previously, giving them a little bit of cover while still allowing them to engage. It looks like that's what they're doing. So the B1 battle droids moving up here, they might actually be able to engage. Looks like they're not quite range 3, so they wouldn't be able to get the normal dice unless they decide to move up at full speed and ignore the sand mound there for cover. So I think it's more likely that what we're going to see here is another range 4 snipe with that E5S trying to use critical to get a pick off, maybe against the blue arc here, who looks like he's just on the edge of range, or maybe another shot into this unit for some more suppression stacking up on there. Not entirely sure what he's going to go for. Looks like he's moving further back, so he's probably not going deep for the shot on the arc. Killing an arc model would, of course, be more valuable, so I think I somewhat prefer that. He could also shoot at the pink unit. He could also shoot at the pink unit in order to try and get a suppression on there. Looks like he's just out of range of the green unit, which I guess is maybe favorable for him. Not quite sure. That unit does have the take that clankers yet to be used. Still a very interesting battle here with the two armies kind of maneuvering and firing. This is going to be the first scoring round of the game, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens right now. This one is in the control of the droids. This one is no one on it, and this one is also no one on it because these droidicas are vehicles and therefore not troopers. They are not scoring that objective. But I think we're going to see this E5S squad in the corner run around there to give some scoring to the droids. There's the shot. Sniping away at the phase ones. Now this, even if it doesn't kill anyone, might still be useful for suppression. Yep, a hit will be saved by cover, but that is going to be a suppression. And if this unit fails to rally, they are not going to be able to get into position to score that objective. So that's actually a pretty solid move. Even though he didn't replicate his feat from last turn and kill a enemy trooper, he is potentially going to impede them and prevent them from getting onto this objective thanks to the suppression. Unlike Phase 2 clones, Phase 1 clones are only Courage 1. Another sniper model maneuvering here. Oh, interesting. I thought they might go for range 3 on that Deca, but it looks like he has a different plan in mind. Moving up more aggressively. May engage, if he engages the droids in the crater, they have light cover down to nothing, which is actually a good opportunity for the arcs to potentially get a double kill, and that is what they're going to do. You know, the droid sniper that picked off that clone. Yeah, now they are being engaged by the arc. 2 dice, double hit. He's thinking, I think, about... He does spend an aim for lethal. And then the save... Oh, a double save. So one of them is still lost thanks to the lethal, but it's not as bad as it could have been with a lucky save there from the droids, meaning that only one model falls instead of 2. You know, the Arc Sniper is a very fearsome model against a lot of armies, but against the shielded droidicas and the 6-point per model B1 battle droids, an Arc Sniper is just not that efficient, you know, especially now that they've had a points increase. You know, you're looking at a substantial chunk of points for a model that is unlikely to earn those points back if he just keeps engaging shielded decas and B1s, because killing a B1 is just not worth that much. And that's kind of one of the advantages of the droids. They rely more on numbers and wound count and shields and stuff rather than having good saves. You know, Dooku, Grievous, they have good saves. But most of the droids have like either extremely poor saves, like white dice with no surge with the normal battle, the B1 and B2s and the Staps, or the still pretty weak white with surge from the Decas. But they have such a high wound count that even if you're piercing them and stuff, you know, you're not necessarily doing all that much damage, whereas piercing a, you know, Imperial Death Trooper who relies on that save for defense is going to be really effective. So Pierce weapons are very strong and a lot of people are playing them, but they definitely lose a bit of strength against droids and interestingly also against Wookiees. Wookiees have a similar thing where they have a high wound count, and even though it's easy to get a wound in, you know, you got to do 3 to kill a model. So, you know, if a sniper pierces and does a wound to a Wookiee, you know, what of it? They have to do that 3 times before they actually kill anybody. So this orange unit here has not gone. That's a phase 1 unit with this is the unit that still has its DC-15. The pink unit has not gone yet, and I believe the green unit here with the face-up order token is the other Take That Clanker squad that is also not activated yet. We might see them try to focus down and kill the blue B1s over there. If he can kill that unit and get them off the objective, that would be quite helpful in terms of scoring. You know, we could potentially even see a reversal of fortune here, where if we get some lucky rolls there from Eternal, he could potentially kill the blue droids and clear the suppression with the pink guys and have them run onto the objective, which would then put him into the favorable position on that right objective. For this objective, it looks like this one's going to be in the hands of the droids with the sniper unit over here doing a double move, getting in range, and the Dekas aren't scoring, but they also are a substantial obstacle. So now, between the Dekas and those troopers, this does look like an objective firmly in the hands of the droids. In the middle, it's going to be interesting. Right now, I think Grievous might well claim that, or the B2 battle droids that are over here. It does not look to me like there's really going to be that much of an option for the clones, as their front line is already gone, though we could see Anakin rush the objective or similar. Ooh, he does hit the suppression clear with those pink guys. That's a lucky thing there. 1 in 3, and that does mean... And so as I predicted, they're going to rush the objective now that they lost their heavy weapon. They're just rushing into the objective area, and because they're kind of underneath the platform, it doesn't look... Oh, but you know what? This Deca unit could reverse like this. Alright, so that's apparently... This slope is apparently supposed to be like steep and not something that you can actually cross. So they're going to be up top. This Deca unit could actually do a little reverse here, I believe, and have line of sight to those guys and rain down some fire from the landing platform. It's good, and I think they're even going to be in the open. Nerfly is discussing how he may put a ladder from over here onto the platform or similar. Just thinking about some different options for the future of this map, so it's going to be interesting. Timbo says Nerfly is setting up for the turn 1 sweep. Yeah, so... If he can clear the pink guys, he'll have this objective. He has that objective, and on this objective, he likely has the advantage as well. I think it's going to be either... I think there's going to be probably either... it's going to depend. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see 2 objectives to 0 or 2 to 1, but it could also even be 3 to 0, quite frankly. In favor of the droids. They definitely have the advantage on this first turn for the objective game right now. And they're a little ahead on kills as well, I believe. They've lost several battle droids, but they've killed a valuable heavy weapon as well as a Phase 2 clone, and each Phase 2 clone is worth, like, I don't know, I think it's more than 2 battle droids, so kind of an interesting situation there. More droids moving up. Let's see here. More droids are moving up here. This is a unit. Of guys with the standard E5C, and it looks like they're not quite going to be in range. Yeah, move. Not quite in range. Going to hang back a little bit to make it harder for them to be shot. And I think they're then next turn going to kind of go over the top onto this cliff and get into a spot there. They're not in range to attack. It says range 3, but it's the angled base glitch, as they are clearly not in the range band. We're going to see what happens once this unit charges over the top and engages. Should be pretty interesting. Yeah, double move, set up over there. Getting ready for next turn, going over the top and engaging. This objective still unclaimed. I personally think that if I am Eternal, I'm going to try to use this green unit to alpha strike the blue B1s off of that objective. If he can kill just 3 wounds of B1 battle droids, he'll be able to claim the objective with his pink troopers, assuming they don't themselves get gunned down, which does seem conceivable but relatively unlikely given the good saves of the clones. Maybe I would even stretch 1 green model over here to try to get token sharing going to potentially give those guys a surge. Looking at some measures here. Eternals, I think, considering his options. Pulls a commander. That's going to be Rex. Without his jetpack, Rex, I don't think, can actually make it to that objective. He moves over here, so that's going to be an aim. Now, amusingly, I think you could actually use Saber Throw with Anakin with Take That Clan. I don't actually remember if that works. I think maybe it doesn't work for some complicated esoteric reason. He's gonna, looks like it's a double move because Rex does not have his jetpack. This is definitely one of those situations where Rex's jetpack would be nice to have. Yeah. Oh, I think he may be trying to threaten Call Me Captain if Grievous comes around the corner. I'm not sure. Maybe not. He's going to pull back a bit. Captain Rex there. Let's see what's going on here. You know, Eternal now saying I should have had the jetpack. If I had put an order on Rex, it could have been so juicy. Now, one interesting thing is you could actually give Rex, I believe, give Rex, yeah, he has a slot. So you could actually give Rex Seize the Initiative and use it to improve your Take That Clanker's alpha by having Rex himself able to fire pistol shots at range 3, which could actually be pretty sick. But he did not opt to do that, so it could be interesting. That's a little fun fact, though. Seize the Initiative there might be a good option for Rex in the future if you're trying to get an even better alpha strike out of Take That Clankers. Because he already has tactical, so he'll generate his aim naturally. And yeah, could be strong. Could be strong. He's going to move and dodge, offering a little protection to the nearby units. What will happen next? That's it. All right. Let's see here. He's thinking about whether or not to roll. So these Decas here, so they could, I believe he can reverse. I think if he reverses, he can get a shot on the pink clone troopers immediately from through here. And I think that's actually a pretty good opportunity because if he potentially wipes that unit, that could secure him this objective on this turn. But it doesn't look like that's what he's opting to do right now. No, he's going to go in the other side, I think. Yavin Base says, hey, I stole a jetpack from my Mando kit for Rex. To be honest, it balances out his model. He's a bit front heavy in his pose. And Timbo says, nope, you can't take that Clanker's throw. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on here. He doesn't roll. Okay, so he's not going for the shot on the pink troopers. I personally think that would have been a really cool shot to take. I'm pretty sure he's in range, and I think he would have been able to actually catch them out of cover. So that could be a pretty strong maneuver, but he's going to go for this, which is going to allow him to next turn move up to the edge and engage down there. I do think that is cool, but I would have preferred to see the immediate engagement on the pink troopers, especially because he could then, I believe, I'm not sure if these guys would be in range, but I think damage on those pink guys could potentially put him into a better position for the objectives relative to moving into this, which will put him in a good spot for next turn, but will not necessarily be as good immediately. On the other hand, I think this position is a better investment for the future in terms of, it could be that he engages the pink troopers, doesn't kill them all. They still prevent the objective this turn, and then they just move away, and then you're stuck over here and not in as good a spot for engaging the main body. So it could be that this move that he's doing here is a better long-term investment. I might have been getting a little bloodthirsty there with respect to the that reverse move to engage the pink troopers. Chat, what do you guys think? Would you have used these Decas to reverse from this spot so that they have arc and fire on the pink troopers, or would you have done what Nerfly did and gone for the better long-term position by moving them over here so that next turn they can move to the edge of the platform and start firing? What do you guys think? I'm curious as to how you guys would have played this one. Well, you guys think about that, though. We're going to see the green troopers moving up. This time he does fan his guys out so the heavy weapon won't get sniped. They're all in position there, and I think we are going to see them engage the blue squad and try to shoot them off the objective. No, he's not going for it. Yavin Bay says, I subscribe to if I can remove an acti, I should do it. Yeah, the question is, it isn't likely he would actually kill the unit with just that. So maybe it's better to have the longer term set up, but if he did, it would be a huge swing. Okay, he is going for the unit there, trying to shoot them off the objective. 3 crits getting in. That could be the unit dead. And he could get the hit there with Surge. He has 4 aims here. Yeah, he has 4 aims here. So he uses the first one, just adding 1 hit. Second aim. Gets a Surge. Third aim. I think he has the Surge tokens to convert that to a hit as well. There's another crit. And he's going to use that 4th aim as well, I believe. Timbo says, I think Deckers went to the right spot. Pretty much guarantees 4 suppressive shots. Karma55 says, I would have backed up and shot. So we're seeing different opinions there. 5 saves on those droids, and they're dead. They had a lucky save earlier against the Arc, but they don't get lucky this time, losing the whole unit despite the Surge token, and that does mean the clones have this objective. The Deca's not engaging there, I think, means that there isn't... Well, I don't know. Could anything else engage? I don't think the B2s are going to be in range. If the B2s are in range, they could be very threatening. Grievous could move up and shoot his pistol, but it won't wipe the unit. And I think these purple guys could maybe shoot just a sniper shot, and that's it, maybe? Not sure. Yep. So let's see here. B2's moving up. If they are in range of the pink troopers, that could be strong. I'm not sure they're going to get it, though. I don't think they have it. Yeah, so he's not even measuring it. Interesting that the chat is mixed with some wanting them to push forward to shoot more in the future, some wanting to go for the pink guys. And it does look like right now the B2s are going to move into position for the center objective, I feel. Night Goblin with the just roll crits. Yeah, just roll crits can be a good tactic on offense sometimes. So these B2s not firing this turn, but they're going to be in a position to wreak havoc next turn potentially. They are now in range of the pink guys. And based on the fact that they are only kind of on the edge there with their second move, I don't think they were... Yeah, they weren't in range at the start. That distance... I think they weren't in range, although it was kind of close. And they, of course, have armor 1 and will likely have cover 2 from a lot of stuff over here. So these guys are going to be a tough nut to crack. Also taking the center objective. So right now, if no other changes occur, this is going to be 2 points to Nerfly, 1 point to Eternal RMG. Although we could see General Grievous run onto this objective to contest it over here and also fire his pistol. Or we could see him push in the center as well. Going to be interesting. These battle droids also have yet to activate and I believe could go over the top onto the middle objective. On the clone side of the board, there are 2 things left in the stack. One of them, I believe, is Anakin, and one of them, I'm not sure. It might be these orange troopers, or it might be an arc. I'm not entirely sure what has and hasn't activated. I think he only shot 2 arcs. Anakin doing a tiny move. Tiny move into a standby. Okay, so Anakin's biding his time. He's not going to push the Decas over there. He's going to bide his time here. Take it easy. I don't think the standby does anything, but I don't think a dodge would really do anything either. He's not, I think, going to be attacked this turn. I don't think anything is going to be in range 2 of him either. Should be interesting. Okay. Moving up to range 3. So he's at the like barest edge of range 3, I think, to prevent them from being able to move up and shoot him. So this is the, or no, he's, so this is the thing. In this game, a speed 2 move is just about range 1, but it's actually like millimeters less or something, because it's like range 1 minus the depth of the concave on either side of the movement tool. So if you're at like exactly range 3, a range 2 unit cannot move up and shoot at you. They'll be off by millimeters. This tactic can also be used if you are at exactly range 2. A speed 2 unit cannot move up twice and melee you. They'll be off by millimeters. So this can be used against short range units and melee units in particular to try to stay just out of range to them while potentially shooting at them yourself. So like if you have a unit of fleet troopers which fires at range 2, putting them to range 2 and a tiny bit, or putting them to exactly range 2 of Luke, for instance, means that you'll be able to shoot him and he will not be able to charge you, though he could move twice towards you and force push you into him, but he would lose the opportunity to actually attack if he did that move. Now we're going to see the second unit of Droidekas activating. So these Dekas executing their big flanking maneuver on the left flank, and the clones have been pulling back in response and kind of they're going to try to kind of avoid being enveloped by moving their forces over here. The problem is these Dekas from above are still going to be able to bombard them. While the droid main body is going to engage. I think we might see these droid units engage over there, so we still have kind of the same sort of formation, except the U is drawn more like this. Instead of like that, it just kind of tilts to the side and becomes more like this. Should be pretty interesting to see what happens there. This Deka unit, I actually don't know which one of these is the unit leader. They should be able to they might be able to shoot. Oh, you know what? Well, we'll see. It looks like he's thinking about maybe... No, he's going to go into rolling mode. Or no, he's not going to go into rolling mode. It's hard to tell if he's going into rolling mode. I don't know if he's going to be in range to shoot at the blue guys. It's possible he's just going to try to flank further around this edge. Oh, he's moving up. Let's see if he's in range. No, he's just moving up twice. Oh, he's moving and then roll. He's doing a small move and then a fast move. I guess he must not be in range here, or else I would be shooting here. I don't think you want to move that far up. And if you did want to move up aggressively, I would want to move around this flank instead to catch these units out of cover and still have cover yourself from these barricades. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but vehicle movement in this game can be, a little, you have to have some degree of precision. Wow, he's really aggressive there with that. I don't think I would move that far forward. There's a big risk of just getting picked off by Anakin. But, maybe he's doing this on purpose as a bait. Maybe he wants Anakin to come fight these Dekas, and then he can blast him with the other Dekas and with stuff over there. I'm not sure, but I think this is a little risky. I don't know that I would like to. I don't know that I would like to get this close to Anakin. I think I would want to stay a little further back. You don't have to move your full movement, also, so he could not move this far up at all, and just stay a little further back. Just get just an inch or two more, and he would be out of range of Anakin, I think. Timbo says Grievous is set up nicely for 1 pip. Yeah, Grievous 1 pip into this area could be extremely dangerous. If we see Grievous go, he could move here and then next turn I think he might be able to move there, climb up, and then just sweep and hit tons of units. That could be really dangerous. He's going for it. So, man, This is an interesting move. It's not what I expected from these Dekas. They might not have been able to get in range if they didn't move up, but he is wheeling into this situation. Will have heavy cover here from those barricades, and then next turn I guess he can walk over here and try to engage around the X-Wing and get those units out of cover, or if he's threatened directly, he can reverse and fire, which could be an interesting little trick. So definitely some different options available for those Droidekas as they push forward in wheel mode. And if we look at the overall formations from above, those clones are feeling more and more enveloped here. So Anakin could have used his standby, but doesn't do it. I don't know why he doesn't use his standby. I think it would be objectively correct to just do saber throw here. I don't know what he would be saving it for. Can you saber throw from standby? Maybe you can't do that. I honestly, there's all these weird rulings with saber throw that I don't fully understand because I usually don't play Jedi. Troopers moving up over here. Oh man, these guys are moving up very aggressively here. This is risky. I don't know if he's gonna try to shoot the Decas or if he's I don't know about this. This is high risk with these guys placed so far forward. They could get shot. I think these purple droids have yet to activate. They do. Oh, but they're the ones with just the HQ uplink and no heavy weapons. So maybe he thinks they're not really doing a lot of damage and it doesn't matter. I don't know why he's sticking this guy so far forward though. This seems very risky to me. What? Light cover plus armor here. They do have 3 models in the blast crater. Oh, no, actually, this is heavy because they have 2 in heavy, 2 in light, and like the better one goes. Yeah, so this is heavy cover plus armor if he shoots at them. I don't think this is a very good shot, and I don't know why this trooper is so far forward. I think that's kind of a crazy move. There may be something to it that I don't understand, but I just don't know why you would be this far forward, as it would potentially allow Grievous to charge you. Maybe even this turn. I don't think so, but yeah. He does go for the shot, though. Ooh, wow, nice. So 3 crits getting through, thanks to the critical 1 on the weapon, are going to get through despite the heavy cover and armor. Let's see if he kills a B2 droid. Yeah, 1 B2 droid will be killed, though the surge token will be spent to prevent another wound on another model. So that the phase 1 DC-15 paying off there to do some damage. I just don't know why this trooper is so far forward. Oh, there we go. Karma 5-5 has the answer. Maybe so Grievous can't move up because Anakin has Exemplar. See, I had forgotten Anakin had Exemplar, but that actually makes a lot of sense. That's also probably why he didn't spend his standby token against those Decas. Because he has Exemplar, he can give the standby to these orange guys, and now if Grievous moves up here, he'll potentially be shot by the orange guys. All right, so I didn't understand what was going on, but chat here had the answer. Thanks for pointing that out, Karma55. I think that makes a lot more sense, both for why he would do this formation and also for why he wouldn't use the standby token to throw his saber. So Eternal definitely has a better understanding of Anakin than I do. I had forgotten that Anakin had Exemplar and could do token sharing with standbys. You know, token sharing with standby tokens kind of went away for most cases, but now is going to be more relevant. Night Goblin says, nice catch, Karma. Yep, good job. And Yavin Base says, Exemplar leads to some goofy interactions like this. Yeah, it's a little unusual, but I think it is cool. You know, it's another cool option for the... You know, I think standby sharing was kind of an interesting mechanic. I know it was very unpopular. I do think it had interesting things. The problem was that it was too easy to do it with very cheap units, where you're just taking the Phase 1 clone troopers, no upgrades, and using those to pass out the tokens. That's very abnormal, in my opinion. So the thing with Exemplar is if it's an expensive unit doing it, it's fine, because in some, like, you gain a lot of like flexibility and potential threats and cool tactical choices, but the thing that you lose out on if you're doing that is that you do lose out on the opportunity to do some of the stuff that you would be doing with a more expensive unit. The problem with it in the past with standby sharing from just clone troopers was that you could use a very cheap unit to give its activation to allow a stronger unit to shoot, which was kind of crazy. So you'd have like your 52 unit point unit of phase 1 clones, and they would give an aim and a standby to a like 100 plus unit of full arc troopers, and you would actually just have a huge force multiplier that way. And if your opponent wanted to avoid it, it was often very difficult, or it involved them using snipers to engage your standby units, which weren't valuable, and then not engaging your important units. So like the potential gain you got from it was super high, and the opponent had some ways to mitigate it, but it involved playing very abnormally. And yeah, Yavin Base agreeing with me in chat. The new limited version, where it's only from Exemplar units, is way more interesting. Yeah, P1 standby allowing a full arc to shoot, for example. Yeah, we're thinking the same thing on that one, I think, or broadly the same thing. The standby sharing mechanic is much more interesting when it is on units that are going to be it is going to be a lot more interesting when it's on units that are more expensive than the unit they're likely buffing instead of units that are cheaper. So it's almost an anti-force multiplier, but it does allow some flexibility with a melee character like Anakin sitting back but still buffing his guys. Now this unit of B1s with the HQ uplink moves up. They are at range to the orange guys for the standby. It could be triggered, but it seems like Eternal's opting not to do it, even though he could give another volley to those B2s. I think he's going to save it here to potentially still threaten Grievous. And it looks like we're going to see they're going to engage the unit there that has the 2 suppression from the Deca shot. And this unit will have, it looks like this unit is just barely not in cover. Yeah, not in cover, I think. So it's going to be light cover there from suppression, but there's a dodge token from Rex that could potentially spend, and these don't have surges. 1 crit does get through. So 1 crit into the blue troopers there. Let's see if they can pass a save. Ouch! Another failed save. Man, I gotta say, Eternal's not rolling hot on his saves this game. I have to say that. I think he's 0 for 3 on saves, despite having surge tokens most of the time. Night Goblin says, I was hoping Callus would get it, but nope. Do you mean Exemplar? Callus with Exemplar would be cool. I think Callus looks pretty cool, honestly. Oh, and that actually reminds me, that's one of the other cool features of this ladder. So if you're playing in the ladder, we took a poll at the end of the previous season about what sort of stuff people would want. And based on the poll results, I have decided to include units that are implemented in the homebrew mod, but not in the test mod. So the thing about including homebrew units, so the homebrew mod right now is updating a lot faster than the main mod or the test mod, and they're putting in new content more quickly. So that mod does have a lot of like homemade content, but in this case, I've decided to allow not the homemade content, but the official content from the homebrew mod that's been uploaded there, even though the other things haven't included it yet. So if you wanted to play Callus or Lando, this ladder is going to let you do it. So if you want to get some games in early with some of that new stuff, this is an option. I didn't actually want, in some ways, so I was pretty ambiguous. In some ways, I did not want to implement the homebrew mod stuff because I prefer everything to be all in one place personally. But the people have spoken. So for this mod, things that have been released or things that have been previewed but are yet unreleased but still known to be official are legal for this ladder if they are in the homebrew mod. And actually, I think Anakin, if I recall correctly, is not in the main mod, but he might be in the new beta mod or something. It's complicated. In any case, in the chat here, we do see Yavin Bay saying a good example of a traitor with respect to Callus. Yeah. And Night Goblin says, lol, Yavin Base, get salty about it and play Iden Callus list using Rebel play tokens. Ooh, that is spicy. For those of you who don't know, Iden Versio is a character from a video game that was heavily advertised as having an Imperial perspective for the campaign, and then she switches sides and becomes a rebel like 4 or 5 missions into the game or whatever, and is not really the Imperial perspective for anything other than the very early game. Callus also, while he does begin as an Imperial in the Star Wars Rebels TV show, eventually turns and joins them. Spoiler alert, but this is like kind of well known and also is spoiled by, like, this is part of why he has his command card, which is, or why he has his flaw card, because, like Anakin and like Lando, his loyalties are not entirely solid. Lando kind of starts out the series. When we first see Lando, he's working with the Empire. Okay, Grievous climbs up there. The standby is used to shoot at the B2s again. Aim token, 2 crits, and 1 hit. So 3 more saves for the B2s. Yeah, 3 more saves for the B2s because Grievous didn't go in aggressively. The fire is on them instead, and all 3 get through this time. That's another B2 down and a wound on them. Timbo says, I love democracy. Yeah, that's a classic prequel meme there. Night Goblin says, I think they hinted his flaw card will be slanted towards sympathy for his opponents or something like that. Yeah, I'd have to pull up the article. I don't know exactly what they said or didn't say in their article, but I think there was I don't know. I think there was something. I think there was something about that, but I don't remember what the exact phrase used was. The But I think it's kind of cool to like have that flock hard mechanic for some of the characters where, their loyalties are a little suspect, or they have some, they end up switching sides in the source material. And then Grievous's second move, he's going to go to the edge of the cliff and then scale down. So this does put, so he is on the center objective. That does mean this objective is actually going to go to the clones with these pink guys claiming it here. But it is still going to be 2-1 to droids with Grievous and the B2s on the center. And then the unit over here on this objective. So we're going to start off with a lead for the droids when it comes to the objectives. And Grievous with his Relentless can also, I think, make a pistol shot. Yavin Bay says, Night Goblin, I've gone over to the dark side. I play clones now. Yeah, clones. Clones with Anakin are kind of dark side. You could totally make a like Order 66 list where you have like Anakin with some dark side force power, and you have a lot of Phase 2 clones or whatever, and, technically it's still the Republic, but it's the Republic like right before it becomes the Empire or whatever. Ooh. I guess Grievous was actually able to... What? Okay, what happened here? I don't know what happened here. It looks like he was actually able to get into melee. I guess he was back here and he was able to like move. I don't know. I don't know how he could do that. Maybe he was already touching and he could like move to there and then scale and move. I don't know. I don't know how that worked. Scale, stand by, move, scale, move. Oh, okay, so he scales first, then he moves, then the standby was spent against him scaling. That was what I didn't realize. I thought that was his position at the end of the move. Then he did that move. Then he scaled down and moved. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so he's going to shoot Anakin, and he's going to melee the clones. Timbo says, what list are you on these days, Yavin Base? And Yavin Base says, a very cheesy meme list where it's Obi, Padme, and 7 copies of situational awareness. Yeah, I saw someone referring to that in the latter reports as the dodgeball list, or the clone dodgeball list. Oh, wow! Grievous shoots Anakin and inflicts 2 wounds. Grievous's pistol scoring some damage on Anakin, and then one of his trophy lightsaber attacks into the clone unit trooper Phase 1s here. Let's see what happens. 3 hits connect. That does have Pierce 1. They spend the dodge token that still hadn't been used. 2 saves. 1 save passes, 1 fails, but Pierce is going to cut through the successful save, taking down 2 clone troopers. This is Eternal has had some bad saves here. I think this positioning also does favor Nerfly substantially with his nice envelopment move here on his Droidicas. But then, yeah, should be interesting. And Anakin's endurance does mean that he clears his suppression at the end of the turn. Even though he had, I think he had 2 suppressions somehow. Maybe he only had 1 suppression. Yeah, this doesn't have suppressive, so he does clear the suppression. Oh, you know what? It was hostile environment. Because it's hostile environment, he was in the open, so he wouldn't have cleared suppression, but because he had endurance, he does anyway. Call me captain here, allowing Rex to shoot into melee there against Grievous versus the classic, the big one, trained in your Jedi arts, the whirlwind attack. Grievous gains disengage and a dodge token. At the end of his activation, he can perform an attack against each enemy unit at range 1 using basically his trophy lightsabers, but without the thing. They then roll for initiative, and I believe Nerfly won the roll. And hey, Timbo successfully calling it. Grievous is going to play 1 pip and get disengaged. Good call. Yavin Base says, nice. Droids win priority. Yeah, this is going to be a big opportunity for a ton of damage here, I believe, from our man General Grievous. Although we do see Anakin using his seize the initiative here, giving him an order as well as Rex, so the Republic heroes are ready to respond as General Grievous does his big attack. Over here, we are seeing the HQ uplink being used, but it's only in position to give orders to 3 of these units. There isn't a unit left to complete the chain and get orders to the B2s, which could prove to be a disadvantage here. Eternal RMG in chat saying missing Padme so hard right now. Yeah, I mean, Padme could potentially be quite valuable. He says standby would have saved me. I think he realizes he's in trouble here. And yeah, Karma55 in chat saying lots of suppression the clones are going to have to deal with this turn, and I agree. It's going to be a tough situation here for the clones. Grievous is going to be able to do a huge whirlwind attack and potentially do a lot of damage. Okay. What's going on here? Okay, so he's thinking here. Thinking about what's going on. Let's see here. Okay, so he activates Grievous. This is basically predicted. I think we're going to see Grievous getting in position to do a huge attack. He's going to disengage, move over there. Yeah, disengage, move, scales up in melee with the green guys. And now his whirlwind attack is in position to hit everything except for those arcs. And it looks like Anakin is out of range. But everything except for the arcs and Anakin in this group is going to be hit. So he moves to here and then scales. So he only does a single move to contact the green guys. What's he going to do next? I don't know why he only did one move. He takes a standby. What? What's with the standby? I'm asking what's going on here. This is not, I think, being done correctly. It looks like he is attacking. Yeah, so he loses the standby as soon as he attacks, I believe. I'm not 100% on this, but I believe he... So what he was trying to do is move up standby and then just do the whirlwind, which is at the end of your turn, not an activation. And then I think that... I think you just lose it, though. I need to look up whether you lose it on an attack action or whether you lose it on making an attack. But I think you would lose... I think you would lose the standby here, but I'm not 100%. Gotta check in. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, I'm trying to find the most modern rules reference here. You know, there are multiple versions of this. Now, let's see here. Rules... Yeah, he says he's used to using this with Vader, which doesn't matter because Vader doesn't attack after. Also, Vader can't take suppression if you're using Commander Vader, so there's no way it's harder to counter it. I actually think this would be a bad move either... Oh, no, maybe it wouldn't. Because Anakin isn't at range 1, so you can't force push him without moving into the range to do the force push, which would set off the standby. Alright, so we're going to see here. Okay, standby. Okay, so it would get rid of it. Eternal, meanwhile, says that he's settling on Padme as the best Annie companion. Okay, so they decided that he can apparently rewind this. Okay, so they're not going to do the actual TTS rewind, I think probably because it would take too long. You have to hit it like many times if there's a situation that's far enough back. And it looks like, so instead of doing that, he's not going to charge the green guys. So I assume instead he's going to move over and charge Rex. Yeah, and that's what we see. And Nerfly says, almost cool. So he thought he was going to do something really cool, ended up not really being possible. So he's going to do he's going to do this the old-fashioned way. He's just going in directly. So he's in melee with Rex. I guess they're maybe going to say that counted for the green guys. I'm not sure. So little rules quandary there, but we got it worked out. And yeah, the chat here agreeing with me. Gasdota says, watching GG cause great pain to the number one GG detractor is Chef's Kiss. Yeah, Eternal is a big fan of Dooku over Grievous. I personally like Grievous. I think Grievous is fairly strong, though I think at this point Maul is going to be even better than either of them. And Gasdota says, after an enemy unit attacks, moves, or performs an action, quoting from the rulebook, you're right. And Dice Wrench confirms, quoting page 75 and saying, yep, he'll lose it. Yeah, I think that's right, unfortunately. Unfortunately, for a very crazy play, or a sophisticated play, or whatever you want to call it. But in this case, okay. So he now is in range of everything here. So this is actually going to allow him to do a better whirlwind attack. It just doesn't give him that standby. I think he has range and line of sight to every unit in this group. Every single one, including Anakin, even though it says it's 2. I think it's the angled base glitch, but I'm not 100%. Top-down view, of course, causes the thing to glitch out, so who knows? Well, anyway, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I think he could be in range if he moves a little bit to the other side. Whatever, we'll figure out what's going on. He's got to figure out how he does his attacks. He melees and shoots Rex with... So he's attacking Rex with... I think, yeah. He attacks Rex with 1 saber and with his pistol in melee. Inflicting 4. 4 saves. It does have Pierce 2. Wow, Rex taking... Rex takes 4 wounds. So he could then be killed by the whirlwind at the end of this. So the whirlwind attack coming in... Who's the first target? Eternal says, my dice still think I'm playing droids, bemoaning his bad saves. This could kill Rex right here. 2 saves for Rex. He needs to make both of these to live. I do think he has a Surge token available, but if he doesn't make it both of these, he's dead. He passes. Surge token keeps him alive. Okay, so it does inflict a suppression, but he's still alive. Okay, so then look, he gets 1 hit on Anakin. 1 hit on Anakin, so Anakin gets 2 suppression. The green arc's there. Anakin did pass his save. Ironically, this big landing platform makes it awkward to move the camera for this. 2 hits there. This attack does not surge. These arcs could die if they fail both their saves. Nope, they're good. This whirlwind is doing okay right now. Eternal saying, why when it doesn't matter anymore for these saves? 2 on the orange arcs. Orange arcs wipe. Ouch. That is brutal. The whirlwind attack killing the orange arcs outright with 2 failed saves, and then the blue arcs as the next target. And 2 crits getting in on the blue arcs. 1 dies from that unit. This is really punishing. This is not good. This is not a good situation here for Eternal. Anakin's gonna have to put this game on his back. 2 hits on another unit. That unit is gonna make its saves. Not sure which one that was. Three for green. I'm trying to see something. Anakin going in to fight Grievous here. Okay, so then in chat, Yavin Base saying clones cannot wait for medics, lol. Gas Dota says this is murder. And Yavin Base says like 5s and a P1 with a medic is going to be sweet. Dice Range says, what's the over-under on points cost for a clone medic? 25? I think there was an interview that said the clone medic was only going to be able to heal one guy. Is that right? I think Luke said something like that. Like he was going to be worse at healing, but he actually had a gun. I don't think the points cost is confirmed. Okay, so yeah, they've confirmed it and they put the green guy back. Anakin jumps in, meleeing Grievous. Yeah, so he was going to fire support, but Rex is in melee. Okay, so yeah, so so he's trying to have Rex fire support while he's in melee, but he can't do it because you can't make a ranged attack, I believe. I gotta look up the rules for this. Yeah, so I looked it up. Eternal jokingly says, I feel personally attacked. That's unfortunate. Yeah. All right. And then he is gonna swing Anakin's saber though. Saber coming in. 5 red dice. Pierce 3. Oh, he gets all 5. Now, Grievous. What? Grievous is impervious. So he rolls 7, and he does have block, so he surge. So he has surge to block enabled. So it's 7 saves against 4 with Pierce 3. So, oh wait, he's doing... Okay, so wait, because of the thing, his opponent's letting him do this, so he moves, force pushes Grievous out of melee, and then saber throws, which will add 1 red die total because he gets the 3 dice from saber throw plus 3 from Rex. Okay, so yeah, move, push, saber throw. So now Grievous can dodge one of them, and then it's going to go to... So then he's going to roll 8 saves instead. Okay, interesting. Now, he could have force pushed into melee and then done take that clanker's... Oh, what a save! 7 saves against 5, pierce 3, so 1 wound. Yeah, so 1 wound gets through. Grievous is blocked there. Only 1 wound from Anakin and Rex. Not, I think, at all what you wanted to see here. Okay. Deca unit. Are we going to finally see the engagement of the... I pointed out there that shield should be recharged from the previous turn. So Dekas have the generator 1 during the end phase flip an inactive shield token. So the one shot that hit them has already been healed because there wasn't the focused fire that's needed to push the wounds through. And now, the Dekas march to the edge, and I think they're going to shoot Rex, and they could actually have a high chance to kill him here. Kill Rex. Kill Rex. Deny those shots. He could also shoot Anakin, who he has in the open. But I would go for Rex here to try to shut down that take that clankers. Man, and these Dekas have a pretty prime spot. Yeah, he's going for Rex. He wants to stop that fire support. Now, Rex will have light cover, at least. He might have heavy cover, but it's very hard to tell from this angle. Only 3. Okay, so I guess they're saying light cover. So 2 wounds. Will he make both saves? No! Rex is killed. The Dekas finally completing their flanking maneuver and taking down Rex to prevent all those free dice that would otherwise be going into General Grievous. Very difficult situation now. It's going to be tough for the. It's going to be very tough for Eternal's clones to recover. Nerfly has really caught him in the pincers here with the. We got the Dekas flanking on both sides. We got Grievous in the center, and there's still a fair few battle droid squads here to back it up. Eternal says the button is calling to me, presumably the table flip button. I think he recognizes that this situation is becoming unfavorable very quickly. Now these arcs are going to try to. They don't rally. Just one action from these arcs. They are going to fire into Grievous though with a red-white. So wow, only one hit. Eternal's not happy with this outcome. Yeah, so they're touching the same terrain piece, and they have sharpshooter. So there's the suppression cover is ignored. So then 1 save for Grievous, and it does fail. So that is another wound on Grievous from those guys. Timbo said Rex is in danger now from that forced push move, and yeah, he got it right with those Dekas gunning down Rex. So I think that the clones have now been thinned down enough that I don't think they have enough focused fire to kill the Dekas. This is one of the biggest problems if you're playing against Dekas. You have to really focus your fire to actually kill them, and if you don't, you might find yourself in one of these situations where the Dekas have had the opportunity to get set up, and with the Dekas like in this sort of zone, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be very challenging to stop them. So he's thinking about shots here with that Deca unit. He could also use the white Deca unit, which could swing around the X-Wing here. Nod Goblin says, Doom and Gloom thought, hero of the Clone Wars. If Anakin is the only friendly unit left on the board, would he still get suppression? I'd assume so. Because it just says at the end of his activation, if he is not at range 1 to 2 of a friendly unit, he gains a suppression. So yes, he would still get it. And the hero of the Clone Wars, Anakin here, is going to have to do some mighty heroism if he wants this battle to go his way, with only 4 wounds left and some very threatening droid attacks coming in. I honestly just don't see a way. I honestly just don't see a way for these Decas to be killed at this point, because he's lost enough of his ranged firepower that he doesn't have enough to push through the shields. Even though only 1 wound getting through would kill a Deca from this unit, I don't think he can do it. And that kind of shows the importance of engaging Decas while they are in the wheel mode or of focusing on them. The 1 wound that was put on them afterwards has been removed. So now he's going to engage the orange clones, who I believe he has in the open. The Droidica unit opening fire there, and is going to score only 1 hit. Very unlucky roll. Decas do not surge to hit. So let's see if the save is passed. It is passed, so that's a lucky break there for those clones. Far below average for that shot, but they will still take 2 suppression. Decas are suppressive, and then this unit can then move or dodge or something. the 2 suppression does actually mean that that unit is gonna have a high chance of only having 1 action here, because they are Courage 1. That is one of the Phase 1 Clone Trooper units. And then the Decas are gonna move up to continue the threat here. The pincers are closing in on these clones. So this guy shoots at Grievous, only gets 1 hit. I guess maybe they were saying that he had cover. I don't know. I guess that was the blue guy. I don't know. I think he might have been in the open from that. I don't know if he's inclined enough. This is like one of those complicated geometry things, and his base is also wrong. So Eternal, I think, said it was cover, and I'm inclined to give it to him. And it's very annoying with those sorts of situations. The other Decas flanking, they are moving around the X-Wings. These Decas have done kind of a big flanking maneuver, but it now does seem to be paying off as they are catching the clones in pretty open positions. Yeah, he could shoot Anakin with a light cover only. And he could also shoot these arcs in light cover only, I believe. Timbo says, yup, does that lives through turn 3 horror? Yeah, you gotta kill the Decas fast. Decas that lives through turn 3 equals horror. Yeah, you gotta kill Decas fast. You gotta kill Decas fast. So then they're gonna shoot Anakin. This is the wrong unit. It's actually the unit down there, but I do believe have him in light cover only. The suppressive on Anakin, also a problem given his weakness to suppression. Let's see what happens as the Decas engage Anakin here. Only 2 hits, so he will only have to take 1 save thanks to his suppression cover. But it does inflict a wound, so that's a 3rd wound on Anakin, as well as 2 more suppression. Anakin now at 4 suppression, it looks like. So he'll likely be suppressed at the start of the next turn, which would allow the flaw card to be used to prevent him from activating first. This is a very dangerous situation, and with Rex dead, that improvised orders is not going to be able to be used to potentially protect Anakin. Now, the green clones over there do successfully rally 1, and they're going to aim and shoot at Grievous. They need to clear Grievous to try to get this situation under control, but it's going to be very difficult. They're going to aim and shoot at him. He will have the suppression cover. 3, he has an aim token, and he does have at least 1 surge token as well. I think he has some surges from Anakin. 3, 4, 5. He uses all 3 of his surge tokens. I think he had 2 on Anakin and 1 on him. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 6 saves for Grievous. I think Grievous has taken 2 wounds. So if he blanks that completely, he could die here. He does not. He does take 3 wounds, though. So an average roll there from Grievous does leave him with some significant damage. And we're going to see. I don't think they're quite going to be able to finish him off this turn, though. The clones are really running out of gas. I don't know. He still has the orange guys and the pink guys, I think. So there's not nothing left, but it is, I think, relatively unlikely to finish the job. How many wounds does he have left? He has 3 wounds left. Oh, no. Did the orange guys go? Okay, so he's saying that Anakin had 1 extra wound. They were miscounted. So Anakin actually only has 2 left. Grievous, what? I might be misremembering, but I think Grievous has actually taken 5 runes. Okay, so then the B2s are engaging. Alright, so that they didn't have the full dice pool there, but now they do. B2s engaging the unit up top. 2 hits, a crit. Do they have a surge? They don't have a surge. So just 1 getting through. It does get a kill, though. One of the pink troopers taken down by the B2 battle droids there with their ACM upgrade. I think that was maybe AI attack. I don't know. Yeah, that was AI attack. So then with their second action, they're going to dodge, move. I don't know. Are B2's speed 1? Oh, they're not speed 1, but they're going to run into the stand mound there for light cover, I think. So B2 is kind of taking the center of the map here, with lots of B1s backing them up. One B1 squad was downed, but there is still 4 more B1 squads, 1 on the left objective, and then these 3 that can fight for the center here. Okay. Orange guy's activating. They do rally both. Double rally for the phase 1s. They are going to get 2 actions. They have that DC 15. They could aim and shoot Grievous here, I think. They're not going for Grievous. Okay, so he moves into the he moves to touch the terrain to deny them cover and then shoots them, getting 2 hits, one of which will be saved by armor. So 1 save. So 1 save for them, and if they fail, they will lose a model. They do fail it. So another B2 is killed. So it is now just the B2 unit leader and the ACM trooper left. The brawl in the center here. But there's a lot of battle droids left. Just the pink guys and the heavily suppressed blue guys down here are apparently remaining for the clones. Along with, I think, a card still in the pool for an arc sniper unit, the one that was killed by General Grievous's whirlwind attack there. This is looking like a rough game here for the clones. I think Eternal RMG is not going to be able to shut down those Decas. Now the B1 battle droids are coming in. These might not be the strongest units in the game, but they can add up. And they can whittle the opponent down with a bunch of these units here. Whittle the opponent down. Let's see here. Moving up. Firing on the unit up top with 4 white dice plus 1 red, 1 white from the sniper. It does have critical 1. Oh, there was another guy there actually that was missing. So it should actually be 6 white dice plus 1 red, because the E5S is 1 white, 1 red. So 6 white dice, 1 red die. They do have a surge token as well. 6 white, 1 red into that pink squad of clones. 1 crit gets through thanks to critical 1. That E5S upgrade paying off, and it does lead to yet another clone being picked off. That E5S, not only did he pick off the DC-15 from this squad, he's now claimed another unit as well with that critical 1. The E5S, I think, is probably the strongest heavy weapon for the basic battle droid squads, but it does have the downside that because it's range 4, it can sometimes put you in a bad spot with AI attack. If only the E5S is in range and the rest of the unit isn't, and you don't have an order, you can sometimes end up in a bad spot. The pink guys roll. They do rally 1, so they only have... They're going to shoot a Grievous with 2 black dice. He has heavy cover, so it's just going for crits. Doesn't find him. Another suppression for Grievous, though. Grievous himself, Grievous and Anakin both taking lots of suppression. Anakin on 4 and Grievous on 6. Only these blue clones are left now. It's not looking good for the Republic. A commanding position here. So then the dark blue battle droids with their E5C, the standard 3 black dice heavy weapon. It looks like they actually have a position here where they're going to be able to engage those orange guys in the open. That could be pretty lethal. Or they could fire... it looks like they're just barely in range of Anakin. They have a lot of options for their shooting here. The battle droids really starting to make their presence felt, I believe, in the middle here. These units not only increase the activation count, they're annoying to kill because they're high number of wounds, and they can actually do a fair amount of attrition. They're not terrible at shooting, especially when they're given a surge token. So this unit is going to be firing, it looks like, 3 black dice and 6 white dice. So that's not a terrible. That's not a terrible pool. Even if they now they don't have a surge, they don't have a surge to hit naturally, but they do have a surge token, which is going to amp up their offense a bit here. Really looking like a poor situation here for the clones. The B1 battle droid unit leader surveys the scene from his binoculars. Oh, he's going to try to finish off the wounded ARC troop here, who has light cover from being suppressed because he can see the model clearly over the X-Wing. Here comes the dice. 2 hits and he'll spend his surge token to make it 3, so that's going to be 2 saves for that ARC trooper. Can he live? No. ARC trooper taken down. So 2 of the ARC sniper teams have now been taken off the board, and quite frankly, they've done very little this game. This is not a great matchup for them, with the battle droids being a poor target, as well as the Deca's shields protecting them. But, the infamous ARC snipers dying relatively quickly. So he rolls off 2 suppression, still has 2. Or, no, only rolled 1 off. Okay, so he's not going to panic, but he can't aim. He gets 2 hits. Does he have a surge? If he has a surge, touching same terrain piece, so 1. 1 save for Grievous. He does get his suppression cover. Grievous, can he pass his save? Yes, he can. 3 wounds left on Grievous. Oh, it's brutal. I don't know. It's not looking good. Wow, this is wild. So Nerfly, they're saying that he has to move his suppression off of Grievous because the stack of suppression tokens is up to 7, and it's too fat to actually be on the angle. Seven suppression. I think that's more than he should have. Okay, apparently that's. I guess he's taking a lot of shots from like a bunch of small things, so maybe that's right. I don't know. 7 seems like a lot. 7 is the tipping point where endurance plus strict orders can't guarantee not panicked. Yeah. Yeah, so there weren't even 7 things that could shoot him. So the 6 suppression was correct, so they fixed that. Night Goblin suggests this is where he hops onto his wheel bike and jets out of there. Yeah. And then the purple droids with their HQ uplink. No heavy weapon in this squad, but they're just they're still in a pretty good spot. Moving up and firing, and it does look like he has that squad in the open because he can avoid seeing any part of that guy. No, he's going to go for Anakin. He's going to just put more suppression on Anakin, potentially go for some crits. Gastoda says ship equals abandoned. We'll see. He does have endurance and strict. Oh, 2 crits on Anakin. 2 crits from the unit with no heavy weapon. 1 wound gets through because he spent his surge. Yeah, he spent that surge on offense. Anakin down to 1 wound left. Anakin on 1 wound and 5 suppression. This is so bad. And his flaw card is going to be able to be played to prevent him from getting an order this turn, which is then going to put Grievous in a position. Oh, I don't know. This is looking real bad. This is looking real bad for the Republic here. What do they even have left? They have 3 clones, 3 clones, 3 clones, 2 clones, 2 clones, Anakin about to die. And there's 3 Decas, all with all their shields up. 4 squads of B1s, the depleted B2s, and Grievous. Even though Grievous is low, I don't know. It's looking pretty bad. It's looking pretty bad. Nerfly maybe getting a bit of an advantage here by playing on his own map and taking the... he was also the blue player. He was able to take a position where these Decas were able to get a commanding firing position up here. I have to say, I think Eternal might have done better by shifting his forces this way and just leaving those Decas marooned up on top. But even then, I'm not entirely sure he would have done all that well. It could have still been a difficult fight. Double move for the unit over there. And I think that's it. Using Anakin's Flaw card. Yep. Anakin's Flaw card being used to prevent Anakin from being given an order. And then I think we're going to see just an ambush here onto Grievous. So Grievous 100% guaranteed to go before Anakin unless he dies. Ambush. There is a push. Now, funnily enough, I think it might have been good to play Anakin's 1-pip even though you couldn't use it. Just to have the potential for the roll-off. Yeah, interesting situation. Now, the uplink is down, so it's a really big pile, but Grievous gets to go first. And I think Grievous, assuming he doesn't run... Yeah, okay, so Endurance means that he's down to 4 suppression because he clears 2. Endurance over there, 2 as well. And then he can use Strict Orders to remove 1, so he's on 3. Doesn't even have to roll, doesn't panic. And now... he's going for Anakin. He wants to kill Anakin and get those surge tokens off the board. The question is he going to shoot another unit or is he going to go all in on Anakin? I just swing everything at Anakin. Jedi Hunter triggers. 2 swords. 2 swords. Ah, here we go. Grievous going after Anakin with both sets of trophy lightsabers. Jedi Hunter triggered for the surge to crit. Surge to crit paying off big time. Wow. Jedi Hunter, huge impact there, giving him 6 hits instead of 1. Anakin does fall. Eternal jokingly flips the dice to blocks and says, "Sorry, what?" No, he was joking, dude. He was joking. It's all good. So Jedi Hunter here, going from, it was only 1, but instead it was 6 thanks to Jedi Hunter. So Jedi Hunter paying off big time there. A unit of clones activates. They're now deprived of any leadership. I guess they rallied down to 1 suppression. I didn't see that, but I guess they did that. That's fine. Shooting. Wow, they're doing really well on those dice against Grievous. He uses 2 surges. 9 results, but he has suppression cover, so it's 8. This could be the end of Grievous as well. Grievous is out. Alright, so Grievous takes down Anakin, but is then gunned down by the Phase 2 clone troopers over there. However, I think even without their leader, the droids are in a very favorable position with just... oh, it's just so painful. There's just like these five units left, and now the Decas are activating. Oh, you know what? I think it was fire support. I think Orange... yeah, Orange fire supported. That's what that was. Okay. That's why there were so many dice. So it was a giant attack with the blue guys fire supported by Orange. Now these Decas are going to go, and they can... I guess they're probably going to just rain shots down on the green guys. I don't know. Or maybe the arcs. Yeah, they're in range of the arcs. But they're going to go for the green guys. Yeah. And they're saying out of cover. I think it's questionable based on the angle, but I think probably he can see the whole base. It's hard to tell with these things. 5 hits. Brutal. 2 dead. Just the leader left. The heavy weapon is gone, and he takes 2 suppression. Yeah, and these surges were spent on offense. Okay, so then the going to the stack, the phase 2, or the not the phase 2s, the ARC trooper, the last ARC sniper squad. The others were picked off. Moving up and firing. Rifle and the pistol firing into the B2 squad. They have light cover, but it will be ignored by sharpshooter, but they do have 1 point of armor. 2 hits getting in, and they reroll the other 2, getting 3 hits, so then 2 saves. Yeah. Yeah, 2 saves from armor. Both saves pass. No, but they don't have a surge token, so 1 wound gets through. So, yeah, they didn't have a surge token because the HQ uplink was not up. Another Deca unit activating. Oh, it's not looking good for these poor battle droids, or these poor clone troopers. The Decas are marching forward. The clones here are surrounded by Decas. Not a position that you want to be in, especially when they still have maximum shields. The Decas march forward, march around the cover, so the orange squad now out of cover because the Decas are just close enough that they're ignoring it. Early on in this game, Nerfly was talking about how you deal with cover with Decas by just flanking, and he's really putting that on display here with his aggressive Deca maneuvers. 1 wound getting through there, and 2 suppression as well, down to just a sergeant and a heavy weapon. Painful to see here. The pink troopers there, the only unit that's left. They're gonna try to get. They're gonna try to pick off that ACM trooper with an aimed shot. See if they can get some crits in. Or yeah, they need crits because it's light cover. Oh, they get 1 crit. 1 crit getting through. That could be the death of this ACM trooper. Can those pink guys pick him off? 5/6 of the time they can, and they can. So just the B2 battle droid unit leader remains from that squad, taking another suppression token. He gives them 2 suppression erroneously, but yeah, it should just be 1. But they're, of course, droids. They don't care about 2 suppression. But they had 1 initially, so maybe 3 is correct. Whatever. Is not really going to make a big difference, because I think that's the last unit that the Republic had access to on this turn, I believe. Oh, no, they still have these green guys. They still have dark green. I would not activate the B2 here. I would activate whatever B1 squad has the best offense. Yeah, they're still the dark green. All right, so the blue guys here activating, they do have their E5C, but because of AI attack, they have to engage. They cannot move or aim. They have to just fire. And they are going to fire into that green unit. The 1 green sergeant is the only guy left there, because the other green unit is actually a ARC squad. Fire getting 1 crit through into that trooper. Can the lone phase 2 sergeant live? No, he's off the board. Looked like it was going to succeed, but tipped over a bit at the end. And now we're down to just 4 units left, and there's going to be more firepower coming in from the... There's going to be more firepower coming in here. Flipping a lot of the cards here. Not quite the table, but flipping that. These guys engaging, I believe they were in range 3 last turn. Yeah, the E5S squad that's been so good at picking off these pink guys engages again. Wow, what a roll! 4 crits getting through. 3 naturally, 1 with the E5S. Good saves mean that only 1 guy dies, but wow, that was not normal. So the pink sergeant still alive. Still on the objective, but then these guys get to move, but I think they're not going to be able to make it in because they are only moving at speed 1. Night Goblin says, I need a Grievous Cackle soundbite. Yeah, this is a, this one's looking like a big win for the Separatists. Now these guys are going to move around the edge. And they're going to move around the corner and engage them in light cover, the blue squad. Caught in the open by another Deca unit. These flanking Deca is really threatening. 5 hits. Oh, 4 saves. 4 saves because they do have suppression cover. 1 guy dies. You know, Eternal saves have finally turned around. He's rolling some good saves this turn, but he's a little late. He's a little late on that. I actually think I think this game is over, almost over. This turn, the droids are again gonna score the center two. Maybe the clones score that one if that guy doesn't get picked off. I don't know though. I guess this unit's not in range and has AI attacks. So they gotta just attack. Gonna fire onto the blue troopers who are in light cover. Seen over that X-wing. That unit does not have heavy cover there. 2 hits getting through. This could be enough to wipe the unit if they... Oh, no, wait, no. Their suppression cover means it will only threaten the heavy weapon. He does die because there isn't a surge available. So just the sergeant left there with a pile of suppression tokens. Oh, the clones are really depleted. No clone unit now has more than 2 models left on the board. And the light... Oh, yeah, these guys left here. They do have to attack. They are at range 3 to the arcs, though. Yep, firing at the arcs. The full unit that's been capping that other point, also engaging with the E5S. 7 white dice plus a red die, critical 1. All right, rolling here. 7 white and a red. 3 crits. 3 crits. Once again, the critical 1 from that E5S really paying off. Oh, but all saves made. Eternal's luck really is turning around, but it's too late for it to matter, I feel. He says there's nothing more tilting than this. I guess the saves showing up right when they don't matter. These guys move up, so they're just going to be just touching the edge of the scoring zone. I don't know how that works. Oh, because this is actually down on the ground. Yeah, okay. So they're just on the edge of the scoring zone, moving up. And yeah, this pincer movement or envelopment or whatever you want to call it has really paid off for Nerfly. As you can see, the remaining few clone units are now encircled by they're encircled by Decas and battle droids on all sides, and I think there's going to be no escape for the I think there will be no escape for the clones. Yeah, the battle droid leader trying to pick off that lone sergeant. The depleted units blasting away at each other. Now, he is going to have heavy cover. Or, I'm sorry, he's going to have light cover for being suppressed. So it will need to be 2 hits or a crit. Doesn't get anything through. Not even a suppression. And then he's going to move into melee with the orange guys. Okay, just to prevent that. One of the last heavy weapon from the clone core units now tied up in melee with an armored battle droid. And then I think this was a scoring turn. So that's going to be another 2 points for, that's going to be 2 points for, all right, that was a scoring round. All right, so that was a scoring round, I believe. So it's going to be up to 4 points for Nerfly, and now, to be fair, that last pink sergeant is holding out on the objective over there. So that is going to be 1 point for that is going to be 1 point for Eternal RMG. So now it's going to be 2-1, or it's going to be a total of 4-2. Okay. Yeah, so looks awful. Looks awful for Nerfly, or I'm sorry, for Eternal. Nerfly is looking like he's in a great spot here. I think this is going to be a ladder score. I think the ladder points in this one are going to be going over to Nerfly's side rather than to Eternal's. So we see a push versus a standing orders. I think Eternal is actually out of command cards that are not... I think he's out of command cards. So an order to the B2 and then an order onto the B1s that are then going to chain across to give the B1s orders. They will be able to aim and shoot instead of having to take that AI attack. And yeah, from this perspective, you know, the hills are teeming with battle droids, and with the Decas advancing in front on this side also, the clones. It looks like it's going to be a valiant last stand for the clones. Chat, what do you guys think about this? Do you think there's anything Eternal should have done differently in this game? Do you think his deployment and maneuvers were good? Do you think Do you think Nerfly's list just outclassed him? Do you think he could have done better by attacking a different side? What do you guys think? It's definitely looking bad for Eternal here, but I'm curious how you guys would have done this. Okay, so I guess this one oh, I think it must have been the HQ uplink. Maybe? I don't know. That was a push? Okay, so no aim. Yeah, so it's pulled from the stack, so they can't aim. Yeah, so no aim, no aim. Gas Data Dota says, I missed the beginning, but Padme being dead before Grievous arrived certainly must have hurt. And Florf says, Eternal doesn't have Padme. Yeah, so he's doing he did Anakin and Rex instead of Anakin and Padme in this list. He had previously used the so-called anime list with Anakin and Padme, and actually did pick up some wins on the ladder with that earlier, I believe. But this is a different list with Anakin and Rex instead. He does have that Alpha Strike with the Take That Clankers, but he doesn't have Padme's second exemplar. Okay, so he's not going to give an order to the B2s, and he's going to give it here instead, and he's going to actually aim and shoot. Trying to wipe that arc off the board. Both players are being pretty generous with the takebacks here. I like that. It's kind of a gentlemanly way to play it. Fixed orders. Deck is issued 1, B2 in stock. All right, 5 hits before the aim, 4 hits and a crit. Reroll that one, all 6. 4 saves for the arcs. This could be their death. I don't know if they have any surge tokens available. They're gone. So the arcs are off the board. That's the commander unit for the clones. Yeah, all that's going to be left, I think that all that's going to be left after this turn is these B phase 1s in melee. I don't know, man. I would just call it, quite frankly. I would just call it. This game's over. But yeah, let's do some more dissection of the. Let's do some more dissection about the situation. So Timbo says Eternal hung red out to dry. What do you mean by red? Was there a red based unit? Gas Dota says, feel like this might have been lost turn 0. Looks like he was stuck in a nasty position trying to fight on multiple fronts. Yeah, so I think that Eternal might have done better by, instead of having his units move up here, if he switched his plan and swung his units over to this flank to negate this unit of Decas, which would then be stuck up top doing nothing, and he could try to fight with his army on a more unified front over here. As it stood, he was in the middle with his opponent's units enveloping him on either side, and in some cases denying cover or otherwise getting very good shots from these Decas over here. And then it didn't, of course, help that he had one of his heavy weapons sniped off on the first turn with line of sight sniping, nor did it help that General Grievous was able to charge in the center and do a lot of damage. And now we're seeing the B1s with the E5S that have been picking off the pink guys all game, seeing if they can finish the job against that sergeant. Looks like they can't. No aim token on them means that it's just going to be a suppression on there. Yep, he says he should have aim shot, but he did not do so. I think he may have been thinking that he still had AI, but he did not have it because they did get an order. The orange guys in melee there, I don't even know. I guess they aim and punch. I don't know. They do rally. Aim and punch. Try to take down that last B2 in hand-to-hand combat. Nope, his armor bounces it off. Rolling a suppression for B1. Okay, so he forgot to do that, but it's fine. The B2 drawing from the stack, he has to punch. AI attack. He's going to throw out a punch. 1 black die from the B2. The B1's punch with only a white die in melee, but the B2s are a little more formidable. Throw out a black die. Does not score a hit because he does not have a surge token. Yeah. This is over. Yeah, and it sounds like they're going to call the game, so there's just nothing else left for the clones. They have 4 models on the board against a horde of battle droids. So that's going to do it for this game, guys. I hope you enjoyed the sneak preview here. Oh, Timbo meant Rex, not Red. Hung Rex out to dry. Yeah, I think he was hoping to do some damage with that Take That Clankers. Or, I'm sorry, with the Call Me Captain. But, yeah. Alright, so we're going to do an interview here. Yeah, the Deca has really got him caught in the center there. Okay, so they're going to do interview. Let's get that set up here. All right, guys, can you hear me? I think I enabled it, but I'm not sure if my Discord's working. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Sounds good. All right. So that was an interesting game. One caveat for the interview: there was definitely some salty language at certain moments of the game. Please, keep it clean for the stream. But that was a tough battle, I think, for the clones. What do you guys?
It was.
What do you guys think about this?
About
Deca's
this
strong.
Game.
Yeah,
so the
Deca's big guns. Yes, Deca's strong. They're hard to. They are hard to deal with because you don't know if you want to focus fire the Deca and kill it, but like it feels bad to shoot at the Deca because you get a lot more value per shot when you shoot at the V1s because like every hit that goes through cover is V1 less.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for, like the Decas, it needs you get six through cover to even start doing any damage.
Yeah.
You need to keep going. Once you commit, you need to keep going, and that just feels bad when you can just be clearing V1s. But I think that's one of the big psychological tricks of the Deca. That you don't focus fire, then you end up in a position where you don't even have the firepower to kill it at the end of the game,
Yeah, and then
so
on the
it has to be a prioritized unit.
Yeah, so like we saw this one, you got 2 wounds on them, but it was when it was in wheel mode, and then the shields come up and you have to chew through 4 all of a sudden. And then the 1 wound that did get through, they just regenerate it. It's so nasty. You really have to focus down Decas to actually kill them. And their offense isn't the best ever, but when he's playing them aggressively like this and moving to deny cover and so on, it gets pretty nasty.
Yeah. Especially against clones that have no way to deal with big amounts of suppression. If this was droids, it would have been easy. But suppression...
Yeah, maybe suppression's back. People have been talking about suppression not being a big part of the game anymore, but it definitely felt real here, especially given that Anakin's weakness is suppression to some degree.
Yeah, suppressive really helps, like, lay it on, whether it's mortars or Decas or something like that. That's one advantage where you can really just, because stacking it up, especially if you have Decas focus firing a target, you can really get it. I also love how they can really just bully an area, and as Eternal was saying, you have to commit resources to them to kill them, and then in the late game, they just become monsters if they're not dead. Because there's, like, even if he had, like, half of his army still at this point, like, there's so many wounds there. Luckily, it's an objective that the Decas can't score on.
Yeah.
But which is, again, a mistake in my battle deck, I believe. But if I fix that, like if it's key positions or instead or something like that, like
Decas are also like horrible to deal with on breakthrough, like so horrible.
Oh yeah, I have disarray, breakthrough, and bombing run in here.
Yeah, I bet.
So just because they just get to rule that objective, especially disarray, like just roll up, boom, like roll up, do whatever you want. Like they can go anywhere they want because of how fast they are. And when he started deploying over here and then moved away, I wasn't concerned because both of these Decas were just gonna catch up.
Yeah.
I underestimated the speed.
I was actually a little surprised. I was thinking that if I were Eternal, I might have tried to move the other direction towards those Decas to try to strand the other Decas on the platform, but it would mean giving up this hill.
Yeah, I mean, this position was way too valuable because I had access to both
both the left and right objectives there from your perspective.
In the middle, and I had heavy cover against most of his army, including those Decas here. I am either in the open, or slowed down by the sound mount, or have very, very poor access to the middle.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's a bit of an odd spot there with the. I guess another thing you could have done is like the pink guys kind of did this. If you run under the platform, the Decas can't actually reach you because they can't see under themselves, which is sort of interesting.
Wait, you can't see
Yeah.
underneath yourself? I thought you
No,
couldn't block your own line of sight.
well, but like
The
I
platform
can't
blocks
see
line of
through the
sight.
platform if you go like commit hard this way, but then you're also not like
But
you're
then
not
you're like
contesting the
not
middle.
threatening the middle, so there's kind of some problems either way.
Yeah, but then you can. Yeah,
It's an odd state
it's
of
an interesting
affairs.
map design. That's for sure. Not something you see every day.
I think
And
we
it's
definitely saw the dramatic feature of the map with the big elevated platform actually used. I was sort of worried that it was just going to sit there and no one was going to go on it because nobody had jetpacks or whatever. But it
yeah.
did
Only the
did
only
play a
one that
role
could
there
have
with
gone
those
there is
decals.
Anakin, and Anakin versus one deck is just asking to be flawed.
Yeah, the flaw card for Anakin definitely works against the suppression. Gas Dota in chat asking, is there a way up or down? No, there isn't. Nerfly was mentioning earlier that
Currently
he
not,
might add a ladder or something that allows you to get to it from one of these areas. But for now, there is not any way up or down other than just being fast. So it kind of creates an area that certain units have access to. And you can, of course, play under it and just ignore it. But it also has that opportunity for the Mandalorians and units like that to get up there. One thing to note is this is a map that's being discussed for the Invader League. Nerfly was talking about this earlier. In the Invader League, you get to, for this season, you're going to be able to make a new list for each round in the round robin. So, and you're going to know what the map is ahead of time. So you could see this list and be like, oh, you see this map and be like, okay, I want to make sure that my list for this game is going to be able to handle this. So maybe instead of playing Wookiees, or instead of playing Tauntauns or Wookiees, I'm going to play those Mandalorian Clan Ren guys so that I know that I have that option to get up there. Or maybe, you're going to play the Rebel Airspeeder or some other thing where it might not be your normal build, but it's going to be more interactive with that. And that's kind of an interesting feature of Invader League where you're customizing things, not just based on what you find most interesting, but also based on the map and your specific opponent.
Can an Aspie fly underneath this platform?
What was that?
Can an Aspie fly underneath the platform?
I assume so.
Yeah, 100%. They can fly underneath it. So, yeah, because the airspeeder can choose because it has speeder 2, right?
Yeah, airspeeder. The airspeeder
Yeah.
does, but the land speeder is speeder 1.
Yeah. So the airspeeder can choose whether or not it wants to go on the platform or be below it when it moves. Like when it moves, like let's say the airspeeder's here.
Mm-hmm.
When it moves, it can choose to go under or pop up to here.
I see.
So it gives it down to here or up to here. So it gives it some flexibility on what it wants to do.
If I start below the platform, can I just like teleport up and then move from the upper side, or do I need to
technically in the rules? Yes, you can.
Yeah, that's a little fun fact in the rules where you can like jump through the floor or whatever.
Yeah. So you just assume that the airspeeder takes like a weird maneuver and like jumps up. So it gives it certain things. The air definitely gives the airspeeder some play to catch some units out of cover for sure. By jumping up and getting a shot and then ducking down and getting back behind something for cover. Because there is a number of things on this map that the airspeeder can actually get cover from because of how high like the rocks or the turbolaser tower is.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff there. I think yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be excited. I quite like this map design. It is a little unconventional, but I think it has some stuff that could make for cool and interesting games, and it really feels thematic to the like specific place in the lore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's really that feeling of like here's the canyon with like the defense turret, and there's the base above it. Very cool.
Yeah, and then we're definitely, looking for to get that flavor feel. Now, this map is again going to be going through testing with our internal map playtesters between now and the start of round robin. So there will probably be some changes to this map based on the feedback that we get. I'm gonna definitely make a couple changes based on what the game we played today and just seeing how certain terrain worked and stuff like that. So don't take this as the final version. This will be adjusted. And you'll see the final version when the maps are revealed for round robin.
Yeah, thanks for giving us this sneak preview, Nerfly. I thought it was very cool to check this out. So the Invader League signups are not up yet. They're going to go up in early January. I think it was like is it the 1st? Is it the 4th? I don't remember.
I think it's like the 5th.
Something like that.
Head, I think.
Anyway,
check it on the Legion Discord I think it's like invaderleague.com or whatever it is. So you can get the information is posted there. I know it was definitely all over the Legion Discord. You'll be able to find what you need.
Yep.
And yeah, definitely get there because the signups went real fast last year.
Yeah, and I think there is some ability to open up new pods or whatever, but it's not. There is a cap somewhere. I don't know where, but there is a cap somewhere. Yeah, and then the new season of the ladder has started, so this you can start joining that and logging games immediately. In particular, I want to
This,
give
yeah.
one more shout out, which is the reason that the new season of the ladder started early. I was originally going to save it for January, was actually because of the Battle Lines map contest is now going, and I wanted to support that with the ladder, get people some chance to play ladder games potentially on the new Battle Lines maps. So if you're on the main Discord and you please go and check out the Battle Lines map showcase and cast your vote for the maps there. I believe Nerfly, what's going to go on with that contest in the Invader League? How is that going to work?
So with the Battle Lines map contest, the top 5 finishers,
Mm-hmm.
of which I think there's 2 days left in the voting on that. So definitely get your votes in on the Legion Discord there. There's a link to a Google form. But the top 5 maps of all the entries are going to be included as maps to be played on during the Invader League in this upcoming season. I will reveal a little sneak preview here. There will be 3 of those maps in round robin, and 2 of those maps in the single elimination
Very
stage of
interesting.
Invader League. So the exact maps that are going to go where is going to be determined by the Invader League team and the, of course, prize support, which is good. You can again go. It's the price support's pretty decent there for your map makers. So definitely make sure you're getting votes in for the ones you like. That's going to be determined by an esteemed panel of judges, including myself, Zach, also known as Thrawn from Notorious Scoundrels and the Fifth Trooper, and Mitrikeen from Six Up Supply and the Turn Zero show. So those us 3 are going to decide the prize support for the top 5, and then those 5 with some possible slight alterations, if necessary, will be included in the Invader League. So
Sounds good.
go vote on the maps you want to play on.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for this broadcast, guys. Thanks again to Nerfly and Eternal RMG for allowing me to cast this game. I thought it was an interesting one. And yeah, so stay tuned for the Invader League signups. Please go and cast your vote in the Battle Lines map contest. And I have pasted the ladder link in the chat for anyone who wants to sign up for that and start logging games. Should be a fun experience for all this stuff. This is actually a really interesting time for Legion. You know, we're going into this next year with a lot of content coming out from the community here, a lot of online events and so on. And hopefully, with the vaccine rollout, we're going to start seeing in-person events starting up again as well. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks again for watching, and we're going to be back later with more Star Wars Legion content, as well as more stuff for Flesh and Blood TCG. That's going to do it for now, though, and I will catch you guys later.